Reinforcement, but you guys are doing so well. Reinforcements is coming, Reinforcements is here. Oh man, just a little bit more, it's always darkest before the dawn, and the dawn is coming. We just gotta listen to Two-Face of the Dark Knight. The dawn is coming. Just hold it. Your faith will be rewarded. The sauce, the sauce and the sazon. Oh man. Hey everybody, what's up? My friends, my family, my fellow gamers. We are live. Are we crispy? Let me know. This is your only friend, these YouTube streets, perpective, and we got an amazing show today, right? Today's show is what happens when the sauce goes head to head with the sazon, right? Yeah. This is going to be one very flavorful podcast. I mean, it's going to be right with taste and flavor. Not even Gordon Ramsay will be able to create a meal of this type. This is literally Christmas dinner on a Tuesday. Oh, man, hey, we're going to start off. Hey, Gaz, thank you so much for accepting the invite. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm good, man. Thank you so much for inviting me, man. I'm really happy to be here. I was looking forward to this for all day, so just going to be swimming in the sauce. I see you, chat. You want us to hear some Xbox propaganda? It's coming. What have you done? What have you done? Allowed me.
Unleash it. Say Game Pass advertisement. Tell them you just bought a Samsung TV. Everything. Let them know you're ready.
No, I'm not Paris Lily. I'm not Paris Lily. I'm not going to sell you Game Pass.
Oh, that was hilarious. But let them know you're ready for it. Oh, man. But thank you so much. It's going to be a great show. For those who didn't know, I was on the Game On Daily before, and it was an amazing experience and stuff like that. So, hey, chat, be respectful. These are great guys. We're going to give you a great show. I think these are two great personalities that will bring the Xbox perspective, but actual good, knowledge and information you could get, because that's what the show's all about. It's always been that way, right? And the other one, the dynamic duo, we got Asa. How you doing, my friend?
I'm absolutely freezing my nipples off. It's really, really cold. So let's bring the sauce and the fire.
He's just free. So so you're both in England, correct? Or is one of you in England?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both of us.
Yes, it is really cold up there. So me and my wife, we spent a week and 4 days in England, in London specifically, right? We that's what I love about being in Europe, because we took Ryan Airlines. It was only like $60 for round trip, flying from Germany to Heathrow.
Oh yeah, it's well cheap.
Yeah, Heathrow's a terrible airport though.
I live near there, so yeah.
It didn't even make sense. I'm like, what is wrong with this airport? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's just built weird, right? But anyway, so the first 2 days was amazing, right? We loved it. I would say one thing that we went to a nice steakhouse, and I forgot about the British pound conversion at the time. This was 2019. So we go there.
2019? Oh, not that long ago.
Yeah, not that long ago. Okay. Yeah. So we go there, great, food's great, steak's great, and they're like, oh, that's like 85 pounds. In my mind, oh, that's not too bad, until I saw the bank conversion. I was like, holy shit, this is like $170.
Not now.
Yeah, not
now. A long time ago.
Oh yeah, now's the time for me to visit London.
Yeah.
Well, but it was, oh my god, and that was been on one of my bucket lists, and I was so happy to go to London, because I wanted to do that, to go there for so long, So I saw the band, Big Band, but it was under construction and stuff like that. But the whole area was nice. The third day is what sucked, because we planned the trip to Stonehenge, and it was cold and pissing rain. But the rain felt like knives. Like, it was sharp. Like, they would hit your face and it hurt. Like, yo, what kind of water is this? This is like hell. Oh, we were in Stonehenge. Like, I should try to find the pictures to put it up, because like we trying to take selfies, and you can see like my wife and our face. We're just miserable. But we saw Stonehenge.
For you, man.
It was so, and then like you have to take a bus. Like you have to. I'm pretty sure you guys been there, but it was a visiting area, and then you take the bus all the way up, and then they drop you off and leave, and now you're stuck there, and it's just pounding rain on top of us. It's freezing and muddy. And I'm like, okay, we saw The Rock. It's time to go. Like, we gotta leave. Like, it's freezing and stuff like that. But overall, though, amazing time in London. Absolutely loved it. And my wife, we want to go back, too. So we're gonna go back. Definitely. Oh, man.
Where in the States do you live?
Now I live in California. I'm stationed in California. Yeah.
Okay.
Ultimately,
are you coming to E3 next year?
That's what I'm gonna do it. Yes, if it's up there, I will. I'm only an hour away from Los Angeles.
You have to.
You
have
and
to do it.
PlayStation aren't going to be there.
Huh? Oh no! So I said, listen, if Xbox has a fan fest, I'm there. I don't know what type of trouble that might cause.
Are you
so
sure?
be it. So be it. So be it. And I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna be like, hey, Tim Dog invited me. Tim Dog knows. He's like, don't you do that. I'm like, oh, I'm telling him.
Which one's Tim Dog? Is that guy over there who's asleep
Tim
right
Dog.
now?
Yeah, he's yeah, like, you know, I'm gonna take Tim Dog out to drink. Oh, we're gonna have a ball. E3 is gonna be a blast. It's gonna be memorable one way or another.
It's gonna be amazing. Man. It will be amazing. I think PlayStation might turn up. You never know. This year's big, but
I don't know. I think they're done. I don't know. I wish. I wish. I would love for them to come back. Not to be honest, you know, because E3 is like the Super Bowl for us. It's like the World Cup for us.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's our World Cup. Once a year, we have a World Cup, right? And that's you know. But when all the teams are not participating, it's like, man, it's like you're missing out on something. You know, imagine, you know, a World Cup with no Brazil or something like something's wrong, right? It's just weird, right? So I mean, I would like for them to come back, but we'll see how that goes. But either way, it's just one of those experiences. Are you guys planning to go to E3? If it happens?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's really nice. Man, that's really awesome, you know?
We got Strictly's going as well. Everyone's going, man.
We're going to hit up the Strict clubs. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, with Strictly?
Now you're talking my language.
We might get in trouble. We're gonna end up on BG News. Like YouTube content creators causes a riot and starts a fight.
I would love that.
Like,
I would love that.
Like they have our mugshots. Like
Asa loves strip clubs.
Oh my god, you know, so that's gonna be a good
choice. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm definitely. It's gonna be a good time. I think. That's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait, and I really hope Xbox has a good show because you guys are probably gonna be spending a lot of money to get out here.
I mean, we're not, I think we're
like,
not enamored, but Xbox doesn't decide Game On Daily's fate. We need to make that clear. We're as much as I'm a blind expert or whatever, with Game On Daily's platform agnostic. I don't think people realize that.
I just don't want Asa to look at you and be like, I spent £2,000 on this. Like, really? I could have just seen this on TV. Like, then you could tell, hey, look on the bright side. We're gonna go to a strip club with Porter Rock.
Listen, if Xbox don't deliver in 2023, you can personally be the one who does my baptism into the PlayStation Nation. I'm there. I'm
at the end of the Xbox showcase. I'm gonna be like, hey, contracts is in the back. Hall 3.
I'm signing that contract. I'm like, dealer, gaming, Cole Eastwood, all of you guys, watch out. I'm coming for you. Doing this song. It's done.
Yes, yeah. Me and J-Dub, we have our own hall. Contracts available. Sign up here. Oh man, so that's great. Okay. Hey, so just a quick startup. Just to get the conversation going. I want to talk about a little bit about your channel, your brand, your content creation. Can you give us just a little insight on how you and Asa are like? Are you and Asa longtime friends, or did you meet under a certain condition? Just give us how this relationship started, and then how it led to Game On Daily. And then
I heard your version of this, guys.
And then how
I asked you to do it.
And then ultimately how you ended up getting suckered into Xbox. All right, go. Now I'm playing.
So actually, I'll give my version because he just nominated me as tribute. We actually there's a news aggregation site called N4G. We actually knew each other from that site. It's a news aggregation platform, and
I know
me
N4G.
and him, yeah, N4G. We used to use that all the time. Used it a lot, and didn't like the way it was run. Didn't like the community. It was just
I know
just full on Like it's like didn't like the tools, and we thought there's a lot more we can do with this. So one day Asa's around London, I'm in London, and we met up. And then we did it. We kind of had an idea of what Game On Daily is going to be. We said we can make an aggregation platform that is more community centric with lots of whatever. And the long story short, we built GameOnDaily.com, which is a news aggregation platform. And it's there for people to see. But we have since then. YouTube wasn't even on the cards. I liked YouTube, but didn't think it was going to be on the cards for us at all. But naturally ended up doing YouTube, then doing podcasts about 2 years ago in the summer, and then boom, and all of a sudden, the rest is history, really.
So around this time when you met in F4G, when was this? It's like 2018. Like what time frame? I'm trying to get.
When did Drive Club come out?
Oh
yeah, come out. What year was that?
Like 2000. That's like, oh my god! So you came in when it was sparse. When PlayStation was
Daily was what it is. Before it was like an aggregation platform and all the cool stuff it does now. It was like a news and blog site that Gaz ran, and he didn't have anyone covering PlayStation stuff. So he asked me. He was like, "Oh, this chap's like a genius. So I'm going to ask him to review Drive Club or something like that." That's my take on it anyway. So I wrote a review for Drive Club for his little website. That's how it all started.
That was 2004. So
y'all can you give it a 6? And I said, no, Gaz. We've got integrity.
Bullshit. Fuck off. I never told you to give it a 6,
Gaz.
Oh, so you met in 2014 with Dry Club. Wow. That is incredible. Before that.
Yeah.
All right. And so then, so the Game On Daily concept, when did that start as an aggregate for the website? Like a year later?
Think 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
2017?
No. Yeah. No, about 2019, I think, is when we kind of launched the website. Because it took a long time in development, and it's still being developed at snail's pace because we've expended quite a lot of money on it. And it's there now, but we have so much we want to do. And that's why YouTube exists for us as an avenue to hopefully one day, it doesn't do it now, it doesn't generate nearly enough money, but one day when it does generate enough money to funnel development of this platform, which we see on mobiles and everywhere for gamers, like really just smart filtering of news, giving it more tools to community to get their news and build their communities. So we've been doing that since about 2018, 2019, Asa. It's been a while.
Yeah, maybe. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, though, but yeah, maybe.
Wow, that's really interesting, because usually it's like the opposite, where people do the YouTube first, get that built up, and then they do the website because of the investment. Because it's not cheap investment to do a website, especially without the ads, because that probably takes a while to gain traction. So if you're just doing it all out of pocket, that's absolutely incredible. When was the moment you guys went, you have your channel, you have your website, but then you're thinking maybe we should look in YouTube? Was there an inspiration? Did somebody bring it up? Like, how did that begin for you to where, you know what, let's try this YouTube aspect and see where we can go from there?
Yeah.
That one, I mean, I'm trying to remember it, but how it ended up like that. I just made a YouTube channel. I think we started looking at a lot of the podcast scene, and we're like, well, we can do something here where we can actually add to the conversation in a different way. Because what all I saw was Xbox content creators here, PlayStation content creators here, and we didn't see meeting in the middle. Now, when we did start it, and for a long time, it's been heavily Xbox leaning, because to be completely frank, PlayStation content creators are shit. Like, I'm just telling you now, very few and far between. Some are very good. Mystic, most of the quality mark on as far as PlayStation guys, they're not there. So we ended up relying a lot on Xbox content creators as well. The quality marks there. Built a friendship with Cole Eastwood. I know he was a very divisive character in your circles there. And Dealer Gaming, I went on his RDX show. That was met well. When we started our own, we started to build up platforms granular, like sub by sub, man. One video that I did was how Phil Spencer saved Xbox. That blew up. Then we had a podcast going up, and it just started to crawl. Like we had a few successes. So generally, yeah, it kind of like got there. Everyone thinks we're an Xbox podcast, but we're not. And we keep telling people that, and and it's mostly because of me.
Embrace
mostly entirely because of you.
He's like, not mostly. It is. Ace is like, it is because of you. There is no mostly in this.
The YouTube thing's funny though, because we're really different, and Gaz has always been. He loves attention and I don't. No. So we used to have these conversations, and then he'd be like, "Let's do YouTube," and I'd be like, "Fuck off." And then I don't know why we started doing it, but once we did start doing it, it was me that probably pushed the direction in terms of going on cameras and running the show the way that we do. So I've been like, for someone that hates it, I've been really quite involved in it. It's a bit weird. I don't hate it anymore. I love you all.
So Asa, when I look at it, every time I see a podcast, Asa's like the James Bond personality. And what I mean by that is, Gaz, you're very, when you bring in the entertainment and the jokes, you show that emotion. You're like, woo, whatever. Or like, yeah, this bullshit, burp, F you, whatever. But Asa, no matter what, he's like, like, it's amazing. I'm like, yo, this guy is, like, last week, when even my brother, he's like, you know, all these pony jokes, and Asa's not laughing, and Asa's did not budge. Like, he couldn't get him, and I saw Doc, he was trying. Nope, Asa was just like stone cold. It's like trying to have fun with a KGB agent. It's just not gonna happen. It's like Asa's always been that way. Every episode, I'm like, you know, Asa's just straight line. Like nothing phases him, good or bad. It's like, I'm like, yo, this is incredible. And then Gaz, you're like the opposite. If something's bad, this bullshit. And if something's great, that shit's great. And you blow the horn, you do all that. I'm like, this show's great. Like, these two guys, they just work so well. It's just hilarious and stuff like that. And Ace is just there. That's like, yep. Just calm,
it's
cool.
not that I'm not laughing. I've got to run the damn show. That's what it is.
He's probably too busy in the background just doing all this stuff, and he's making, it's kind of like, a ducking upon the water. On top they look calm, but on the bottom their legs are just welling around. But it's just
naked,
but you two just have a great dynamic person, and I was just interested because your personality that you have, and it just felt like you guys came out of nowhere. Right, because I would say you guys grew rather quickly. So congratulations on your success so far. It's like you just guys came out of nowhere. And like I said, I've been paying attention to the YouTube community for a while, like 2016. And then one day I see you guys, I'm like, holy shit, where these guys come from? And it's just like, and I was like, man, this show's pretty good and stuff like that. I'm like, wow. But I said, man, this is a pretty good Xbox podcast. That was my first impression.
I know it's not meant to be like that. Asa is the balance. Asa is the objective one. But because we came in to the scene, I don't know about a lot of the history. You guys have beef with the other side, the Xbox guys. Everyone's like, why are you guys with Porter Rock? I was like, I had a wicked show. That was one of our best shows when I had you on there. People DM'd me and said, look, this is what happens when you stay away, just get the echo chamber out. Because we hate that. We hate that. But actively, even at one point, J-Dub, when J-Dub's in the chat,
he's in here. He's in here now. He's here. Boy.
Oh shit! You were
here. I dropped him in. I'm telling you. Listen. J-Dub has the contracts, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna see live acquisition of Game On Daily to PlayStation Nation. Right?
Facts.
FTC approved the trade. We're ready. We're gonna get this deal going.
Hey, that's why I'm here. I got my lawyer in the back. I got the free PS5 swag, the consoles, the goatees, everything right here lined up.
We're gonna line it up for all you guys. We're gonna give you the maximum treatment.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Absolutely.
J-Dub, how you doing?
Yeah, definitely doing good, guys. It's good to have you on, and on here with my brother Porter Rock. One thing, I was able to check out your a couple of your shows beforehand, and always thought it was a good show. The last show was, it's one thing like what you were saying a while ago about the whole echo chamber and stuff. And it's like, majority of the shit that we do, it's all for entertainment. It's all for jokes. It's all for everybody know. Puerto Rock got Xbox, I got Xbox. We play fucking everything. But when you can get out of that echo chamber and, kind of fellowship with someone that I guess one side considers, he's a pony or he's a bot. And when you guys actually do converse or play games together or podcast together, it shocks the hell out of a lot of different people who takes this stuff a little bit too seriously. And it's so used all the time.
You take it, but when I came into the scene, you got an archetype. Everyone gave me the image of these guys are bad, and I fell for it. But I watched your show, Puerto Rock. That's how I knew. But this guy's actually pretty chill. You guys make him out to be the devil. And
that's because of Twitter. Obviously, I would say it's kind of my fault. But at the same time, Twitter made me the demon that I am. Because I tried to be the nice guy. I tried. Yeah. I came in Twitter thinking, oh man, people talking about games, cool. Hey, let me bring up this point. Fuck you, and they say some racial slur, and I'm like, all right. Hey, what about all five? I'm like, you know what? Screw this abuse. If this is what you guys want to do, we can go. And then ever since, so I just gave up on Twitter. But podcast, that's to me because it's real conversation. You're behind the mic or in front of a camera, so I take podcasting a lot more serious. Unless you're on Z's channel. Then you just gotta every man for himself on that one because you don't come in there being the nice guy because you're gonna get destroyed in that place, right? But that's the environment he created.
I was well surprised though because Gaz does most of the guest inviting and he's like into the Twitter stuff as well, and I'm not, and I don't really understand all your arguments. And he invites people, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Twitter is like the thunderdome."
And then you come on, this is you're an example of this. He invited you, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
So it's just like Gaz. I could just see that. Hey, Ace, I got a great guest. Who? Puerto Rock, and he's just looking at you like. He's like, this is show, though, right? I could just see in the British accent, this would be an absolute disaster of the most highest kind. I'm like, and then I show up, he's like, who the hell is this guy? Is this the same Puerto Rock from Twitter? But but podcasts, people's, especially when I'm on as a guest, 100% respectful because I think that's where you can really have serious conversation. Twitter is really hard. Even Gaz, right? Gaz, we had conversation on Twitter. And even though I know your personality, it is still hard to read you. And I'm pretty sure you probably felt the same way. It's like, what is Puerto Rock trying to say? I don't get it. It's really difficult. It has to be behind the mic.
I said this to you, remember, on Twitter. I'm like, you're not getting it. You think I'm coming from this angle. I'm agreeing with you, bro.
Yes! It just doesn't feel that way. It's just Twitter's so hard to read. And it's like, it's just even if you have serious conversation, it's still hard to read the intent behind the messages, right? And you only have so many characters, so that's why podcasting.
And then people associate, you're with the Xbox guys, and then Colt's liking your tweet. That means it's this and that. But you don't understand. In real life, it's different. J-Dub, you will be surprised at how many times Colt laughs at your memes in the background. We love that shit.
Yeah, I tell everybody, man, listen, the J-Dub that you see on Twitter is a different J-Dub from when we, when I podcast. It's totally different. Twitter is the whole unfiltered, kind of almost semi say what you want, do what you want, but every tweet is really targeted to the person who really are in their feelings. You know what I'm saying? There's no malicious intent behind it. It's for jokes. Some people like the humor, some people don't. It is what it is. I make no apologies about it. But every day when you wake up, you look at my timeline, you know what you're gonna see. So if you come in there to see, maybe level-headed J-Dub, you maybe not get that. You may need to check the J-Dub on the podcast.
I love that, Jay. I love your shit. I reached out to you very early on, and people were what, really, J-Dub? I was like, but then you kept going at it. I'm like, he's not gonna just stop. But I know you now. I know. I know he's gonna.
He's like, he's just a demon. He keeps going. But that's
I love the beef as well. I love the beef. I love the beef.
Yeah, people find it. I think that Evan Greenberg, he started following me, and a couple other people. Me and Tim Dog were really cool. People there's a circle of friends, like inner circle, and then nobody on the outside. They don't know. They think everybody is beefing and everybody's having problems, but behind the scenes we're laughing at it all. Right? We're just cracking jokes at the follow up tweets and stuff like that. And every now and then you have to tell people, hey, be respectful. That's my friend. I'm just joking. We're just going back and forth just for the entertainment. But other than that, man, I just try to have fun with it, crack jokes. But at the same time, we call Puerto Rock Professor Puerto Rock because he's going to teach you a thing or two. Where he's a little bit more lenient. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm kind of just, it is what it is. He's going to actually teach you why he's going to break your legs. I'm just going to try to break your legs, And so that's what it is.
J-Dub is like, if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies.
But yeah, so like in Twitter, myself, J-Dub, Zaire, Post Up, Tim Dog, like we have our own group and we talk almost daily. Like people think, like I know Tim Dog for a long time. We're both Knicks fans, so we have that shared misery. We're both Giants fans. We talk a lot, but some people think that me and Tim Dog, when we start going at it for the banter, that we really hate each other. And people go, why you talk to Tim Dog, man? Whatever. And then people be like, Tim Dog, why you talk to Puerto Rock? And then in the DMs, me and Tim Dog are like laughing, like, what's happening?
Yeah, people don't get it. These are characters, right? This is the internet. This is a character. Yeah. These are avatars. These are our characters. Behind the scenes, we got we talk to each other. We got each other's numbers, and we're regular people. Yeah. And I guess it shocks people. It shocked people when they realize, oh, he's not that bastard on Twitter. He can actually hold a conversation, talk about gaming, and they sometimes they scratch their head and they're like, well, why can't you be like this all the time? It's like, no, that's not what I want to do. That's no fun in that,
Exactly. You're like me. You can't always be that nice. Like with King Thrash, me and him had a back and forth, and I was like, okay, now I made a rap video, and I'm like making it up to King Thrash. And I love that. It's like he blocked me twice, so now that's dead.
It's only temporary. It's
temporary. It's for theatrics.
Yeah. I like it. But let him make a rap video about me, take the piss out of me. That will motivate me to make another video, and I like the source. And J-Dub, you're very close to me in that regard. I can vibe with half your memes. They kill me in the back. I'm sharing it in our WhatsApp group with the Xbox guys. Like, this guy's fucking on point, and we're crying. Before Spencer's begging Jim Ryan for like concessions.
Like, it's funny, and J-Dub has that innate talent because it's like he just comes out of nowhere. And like, I'd be like, where do you find these pictures at? Like, I don't know where you get them from because you're like the first person every time. I'm like, where does he get these GIFs and images from? Like, this is hilarious. He has like a repository.
J-Dub, you piss off Xbox so rawly. It's so funny to see them get pissed. Just get pissed so bad. That's how you know your memes are good.
I trust me, I know, man. You can tell when you hit a nerve with a person because then they'll go to your YouTube channel and they'll start posting comments on an old video from 6 months ago, or they'll go to your PSN account and send you a DM message, watch your back or something like. I just screenshot that and then I post it on Twitter and just start memeing it. I make fun of that, so it's. It is what it is. It's all for fun, man. None of it seriously. None of it serious. A lot of people who don't know me know that I was a big Xbox guy. I've given away so many Xboxes to so many different people, and hell, I was trying to help Microsoft win EPD last generation. It was just, dude, it was crucial. It was messed up, man. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I remember J-Dub during the Xbox One X launch. He randomly gave away 3 Xbox One X's to the community.
Wow! Why would you do that? Why would you inflict that?
Because he can. Because that's literally because he can. Yeah, like literally, he didn't even ask for like subscribers or follow my channel. Nothing. It was just like one day. Hey, congratulations! You won an Xbox One X. Hey, congrats! And the 3 guys are like, they weren't even sure that they subscribed to something. Like, I don't remember like subscribing to anything. Like, what's going on? And he just did it. It's just a message. A lot of people don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. All right. So I see my boy Craig Harris. He made it to the panel. The Messiah, The voice of
Kentucky Bourbon himself.
The voice of Xbox. Self-proclaimed voice of Xbox.
Messiah of Xbox.
The Messiah of Xbox. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me raise your volume. Wait a minute. Let me raise your volume. I think. Well, no, your volume's all the way up.
Oh, okay. Well, let me turn mine up here.
Yeah, just if you could raise it up a little bit more.
Better. How's that?
No, more.
More.
Is it me or is it? Am I wrong?
Nah, it's quite loud. It's quite low. Yeah.
It is quite low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't do that stupid thing I had to do last week.
Oh man,
So I have to go.
it's a bit low. But
Get in the same room as the microphone.
that's it. Hey, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. So we got over 190. If you mind, hit the like button. We're gonna start kicking off the topic. So
How's that?
yes,
There you go.
Much better. There you go. Now that's now you're full RDNA 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Now you're ready. Now you're ready. The tools are in, right? So the first topic, right? So as we know, Microsoft now apparently are saying that they are now offering COD if Sony wants as part of the subscription service, right? What I really want to talk about is the gradual concession. Maybe there's a better word, but it started out with we plan to support, Call of Duty, whatever. Then we specifically got the 3-year deal. Then it went from 3-year to 10-year. And then Microsoft said, hey, Nintendo's included 10-year. And now another layer. Now, obviously, we know what Microsoft's doing is they're trying to remove those obstacles that can potentially inhibit or block the deal, right? So they're trying to be regulators as best they can with every step. So they're doing it inch by inch. What I want to ask you two gentlemen is, because I know you guys covered this in depth with the community. You had a lot of members talk about it. You had some guests talk about it. When Microsoft first announced Activision deal, did you anticipate we would be at this point? Did you anticipate that we will get to the point where now we're at jokes, where we have jokes, Paul Tassi from Forbes, we're at the point where now jokes of Phil Spencer naming his firstborn Kratos needs to happen in order. You see what I'm saying? We're at that point now. Like something like I never thought it would get to this point where Microsoft have to openly say, hey, 10 years to Nintendo, 10 years to anybody. Like, please, like, just let us, what are your views on the coverage you guys did on this and what's happening now? Like, when you first covered this, does this give any sign or like, is this like surprising you? Just give me a whole thing behind this.
I was never confident at all that the deal would go through, but I didn't think it would be PlayStation that were like the thorn in the side for it. I thought it would be all around like the cloud gaming and the nascent markets that are more vulnerable. Like PlayStation are solid and set. They don't need to fight this really. They'll be fine, but they are. Jim Ryan's a genius and he's getting everything he wants. I didn't expect it. I really didn't.
I didn't expect it as well, and I didn't realize Microsoft was so bitch made when they did this whole fucking thing.
Listen, calm down. I don't want people to be like, "Oh, you show up Portorock's podcast, and now you're on PlayStation." Like what? Remember, they can end you, Gaz. They birthed you. They can end you.
Was on Cole Eastwood's show wearing a pony hat. I've shared the clip where I told Phil Spencer to grow some balls. I said that on Cole Eastwood show, which Phil Spencer watches, man. And I'm saying the exact same thing I said here. Xbox are bitch made. How is it you are $1 trillion company and you've got the pussiest lawyers in the world and you don't even have a time limit? What's the incentive for Sony to do anything? They haven't got even time limits on this deal. Here's a 10-year. We'll give you 10 years. Hell, here's my mum. Take her. What the fuck? What is the time limit? You've got a case in August. There's no incentive for Sony. If you were so brave in belief in your points about how anti-compete Sony is, you would have said, you know what? Here's a 3-year deal. Okay, we made it 10 years. If you don't accept it by July, you can piss off. We'll fight this with the FTC now anyway, because that's it. But they don't have the balls. And I'm shocked by them doing that. And then they look so weak, which is why it's so hard to be an Xbox fan. Just look, because me and you had this back and forth, Rock, about pride and company pride. But
I remember you mentioned that was like one of those hard to read conversations on Twitter. Like there's got to be ethics and pride. I'm like, what? If you pay me $7 million, I'm gonna cry bloody murder. Like, Microsoft threatened my children. Like, don't let this deal go
corporate pride is things, man. It's like the way you see it's vibes. It's how you see Sony for 3 generations came out. Every time Sony comes out on stage, I hear Vince McMahon's, I don't know, no chance, that's what you got. And it's like, what the fuck? These guys don't give a fuck. It's like Vince McMahon is coming up on stage. These guys are G's. And for the first time, I saw PlayStation and Jim Ryan getting carpet burns, and he's just like, stop begging. Because look, I genuinely may sound like Xbot saying, finding an excuse to make fun of Sony, and I'll say this again, I 100,000% have full faith in PlayStation's first-party studios to deliver a first-person shooter that could not only challenge COD, but kill Halo. Well, Halo killed itself, but now is the chance. Now is the chance. That's why if I was a PlayStation fanboy, if I was the hardcore, I would look at this, I'm like cringe. I'd be like, fuck's sake, what I'd love Sony to say is, you know what, you guys are taking the piss. You guys are buying your way into the industry. You guys have no track record of good games. Go ahead and do that. And we are now working on 10 live service games. We are working on our first person shooter, Bungie. But first of all, Bungie, shut the fuck up about your independent shit. Make their games exclusive. PlayStation.
Exactly.
100%. Make that. I would love that because I'm telling you now, if Bungie made a game, because I'm a first-person shooter fan and multiplayer-centric fan, which is why I like Xbox. But the moment PlayStation kicks the shit out of Halo, I'm gone. I'm there, Team Blue, 100%.
Got the contract.
Get the contract ready.
Contract. Hit up J-Dub's DM like it's time.
Yeah.
So 100% do that. But this is the thing. This is why I don't like the PlayStation fanboy attitude is to defend. So I get the business side of it. But what I just believe. So I see Woolly Gamer in chat. This guy has been crying tears about the consolidation thing all the time. It's so bad. It's so bad. Listen, Woolly Gamer, let me teach you a lesson here. I believe in PlayStation more than you do because I believe in their propensity and ability to create something. They don't need COD. Despite the fact that they lean heavily in its revenue, they can completely shift the market. Since the Xbox 360 PS3 gen, we've had this multi-plat environment, which is bullshit. Now, finally, we can have a chance where these consoles have real identities. I know Xbox has struggled, but let Sony take up all the Japanese market. Let them get Square Enix. Can you imagine Capcom? All of that. I would love that. And let Xbox have your Activision Blizzard. Look at Blizzard, man. The company's been fucked for ages anyway. Like Diablo got delayed for years. Why? Because the studio was in turmoil. Overwatch got turned into Overwatch 1.001.
DLC. Overwatch DLC.
Exactly. It's not a sequel. It's taking the piss. So look, this is what I really don't believe in the consolidation argument. I don't think it's harmful, especially the specifics of what we're talking about. Yes, COD is a force. PlayStation doesn't need it. And I believe in PlayStation's ability to create something that will, in the first-person shooter and multiplayer space, really shock everything. To me, it seems like PlayStation is buying time. Cleverly, it's buying time, and it's working.
Yeah. I agree there. I'll give one counterpoint to that is I think the argument really was it wasn't more so Sony versus Microsoft in this case. It was more so the hearts and the credibility of the Xbox fanboys versus everybody else, because we've been hearing for the last 5 years about how Microsoft has so much money they could buy anything, and just wait, they're going to buy this, they're going to buy up this, and Sony will rue the day that they mess with Microsoft when it comes to this deal, because now Phil and Satya are taking the gloves off, right? And here they are on their knees begging, please. They started with 3 years, then it went to 10 years, then it went to you can put it in your PlayStation Plus. I mean, they're giving them all this. It's really a turnoff when you look at it company versus company. Because before the guys was like, well, Sony and Jim Ryan are out there crying and begging and begging Joe Biden and going to politicians. And now the roles have reversed. and you're seeing it play out live on air, live in the Twitter space and stuff like that. And it's crazy, man. And at the end of the day, I'll be honest, as a gamer, take the fanboy stuff set aside, and as a gamer, when you look back and you look at the overall picture and you say, who do you trust? The Blizzard Activision, all their IP, the biggest shooter in the world, Call of Duty. Which one of these companies, out of Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, right? Who do you trust to handle these IPs with care, to handle just everything with care, right? And you go back to what you said about Halo, right? This is Microsoft's flagship. Spent over $500 million on this game. This game was supposed to last for 10 years, right? And less than 3 months, people stopped playing it. It's just been in shambles with Halo. And you just look at the track record that Microsoft has set up for the last 10 years. Do you really trust them, right? If they fumbled their flagship IP, right, their biggest IP ever, if they fumbled that, what gives you any hope that they're going to be able to know what to do with the Call of Duty franchise? Like, I'm just saying from that standpoint.
The two. I would differentiate because 343 was a studio set up of ex-Bungie devs to make this. Whereas with Activision Blizzard, they're going to pretty much enable mostly there's a management issue that they need to rectify. And I take your point on board because Xbox's track record isn't that great. But I would say they will more or less Activision Blizzard will be left to their own devices, subject to some material leadership changes. Now, whether or not that makes has a adverse impact on how games are developed, I don't know. In fact, actually, with Xbox's involvement, they did say that, by the way, we're going to make Call of Duty a biannual affair, so it's not being churned out yearly, and that already for me is great. Like, they've come out and said that. They didn't need to say that. That was really good. More positive, because COD being churned out in the factory has never been good. And they've also said we want to revisit old dormant IPs. And there's I made a video on this whole load of like a suite of IPs that they could potentially do. Now, this is Microsoft, and since 2018, I haven't seen them do anything. So I take your point on board. I understand that. And I have that sense of trepidation as well with Microsoft. Until Microsoft next year, everyone keeps saying next year. This is why I just finally lost my shit. And at the Video Game Awards, we literally have Phil Spencer get front row seats, watching his face get bukkakied at the Game Awards as God of War gets award after award after award. And it's embarrassing. You know, honestly, it is. You can see it in his face.
In his own theater.
And Ryan McCaffrey's writing an article saying, Phil Spencer deserves a D and is close to flunking because of his performance in first-party output. Yeah. And how long can we make that excuse? Yes, on paper, 2023 looks good. Why? Because most of the games got delayed into 2023. Redfall, Starfield, the big ones. Forza, okay, that's great. And shout out to Woolly Gamer. Forza shits on Gran Turismo.
You got J-Dub might give you less benefits than Asa.
Oh man, I'm already taking away swag from the bag, man. Yeah, man.
He's rewriting the contract as we speak.
I'm burning those benefits because I got to agree on that one.
But I would say so Gaz, you and J-Dub make great points, but I think it's two separate things. Like, J-Dub is looking at it things from the gamer's perspective, which I think is a good conversation to have on podcasts from a gamer's perspective. Like if Activision Blizzard or even Bethesda with Microsoft, I call it proper publishing of Microsoft. Those are the ones that are involved with Hellblade, The Initiative, Halo, 343. And if you notice, that's the side that has issues. Microsoft proper publishing. And then I see, in this case, Bethesda, they have their own publisher. They seem to be doing fine, right? So I think from a gamer's perspective, that's a good conversation to see how would Microsoft move forward in managing all this. So that's a good conversation. But I think with the trade, I think it's clear a lot of these FTC guys, they're so far removed. They're not looking at this in the same lens that we do. They don't know shit about gaming. These guys, they got the degrees in finance, business acquisition. I guarantee this 48-page report from Microsoft, Sony, whatever, their lawyers are reading it in a different way than we're reading it. Because we're reading it from the perspective of gamers. So this is how we see it. Like, oh yeah, Sony's lying, blah, 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 blah. Because we're seeing it from the gamer perspective. While a professional lawyer and financer, completely different lens. And I think from that side of the house, right off the bat, there is certain companies that when they try to make a major move, they are automatically going to be, it's like you're guilty until proven innocent. And I think those companies are
Microsoft is one of them.
Yeah, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia. Remember when Nvidia tried to acquire, was it Nvidia or AMD?
Yeah.
They tried to acquire.
No, it was Nvidia.
Yeah. They tried to acquire, it was the
ARM.
ARM. Boy, they shut that down. Even Microsoft, they're like, no, you can't do it. This will destroy everything. And I'm like, Microsoft, like you make Windows. Like, what are you worried about? Like, but a lot of people are against it, you know. So certain companies, by right, Amazon, you make a move, you're already guilty. You have to prove you're innocent in order to do what you want. So I think Microsoft, by right, would have a hurdle, right? But then, so you probably notice within the community, you know, whether it's through a meme or serious conversation, people are asking, hey, how come people can't allow Microsoft to have exclusive? Like, did the community forget that technically speaking, as we speak right now, Xbox, because of their acquisitions of Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games, Obsidian, and Bethesda, they technically have more studios right now than PlayStation.
Yep.
You know?
Nintendo, yep.
So why? So technically, not only do they have more studios, they have more franchises, right? But Phil Spencer's out there saying, "Oh, Sony wants so small," and I'm like,
that pissed me off. That
you're bigger technically in terms of ownership of developers, and you now own Quake, you own Doom, Wolfenstein, Prey. Technically, the sequels of Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, if you want to make it, those are yours. Prey franchise, like you guys literally own Doom and Quake. That alone, Halo, Doom, and Quake. Like, and now you're about to try to get Call of Duty? You literally have possibly some of the most prolific first-person shooters on that. So, like...
That's what Sony said to the FTC,
Yeah, so, like, why does the community feel like Sony's trying to keep... I understand Sony's being a bitch and they're doing what they do. I get that.
But you can't. Let's not lie about Sony has been aggressive in its timed exclusivity and money hunting for things like Final Fantasy. A lot of Japanese market.
But Microsoft, people are not realizing Microsoft could have been doing the exact same thing because they did it during the 360 era, right? They were doing the exact same thing.
Did they do it with Tomb Raider? Then they do it.
They did it with Tomb Raider. See, this is what I don't like about Microsoft. This is what I don't like about Microsoft. When they do something, it's okay. But when Sony do it, it's not okay. Phil Spencer is all over the place in what he's saying, how he's saying it, how he's portraying it. And people can always go back to his quotes, right? How about exclusives is not what gaming is about. I don't want to pay to keep games off of other platforms, right? And then he turns around a year later, and now he's getting exclusives. Once he finally gets his studios, now exclusive defines a platform. It's like, wait, what happened the last couple of years prior when you're saying all this other shit? That's why I don't listen to what he's really saying. He's a spokesperson. His job is to tell people what he want them to know and how he want them to see it. It is what it is. So, but for a lot of these guys to just go out there and everything Phil Spencer says is just golden. It's like, dude, come on. That's all that is total bullshit.
We've always said it. Asa, you've always said it. We've always said it. Phil Spencer has a silver tongue, and you gave that example that was clipped by Nick Marseille. How much did we argue and debate about what the flip the ZeniMax, their statement about exclusivity up until it got announced? It was completely misleading. Me and Asa, how many times we argued for like 6 months or however long, what does this mean? And then they come back, Sarah Bond is like, it's exclusive. 100% Xbox has a silver tongue as well. And the double speak is obvious. That is obvious. Of course. So I don't, and I said this on XNC yesterday, I'm sick and tired of the fake posturing kumbaya. We're opening barriers to gaming. I want them to just be like Sony. Be ruthless like Sony. Sony don't even talk half the time. I like that. Part of it I didn't like it because they take the piss.
No.
No, it's true.
So then they're too quiet. They're like, all right, you're a bit too quiet now.
Also, if you give Sony an inch, they will take a mile. They will take the piss. If it wasn't for 70, they'll push it for 80. And Microsoft is that strong. I believe that because Sony don't give a shit. Ken Kutaragi was asking you to work 2 jobs. This general will be 5 jobs.
Hey, we can't even argue with you on that.
No, you can't. They said you work 2 jobs. You know.
Yeah.
Oh man, but what I was saying is just So damn, I lost my train of thought. Okay, here we go. So what I was trying to say is, how come people don't realize the situation for what it is, right? It isn't really Sony trying to stop Microsoft from gaining exclusives. Because, again, we've seen Microsoft acquire Hellblade. They acquired Compulsion Games. Obviously, Playgrounds always made games for Xbox, but they easily acquired them. They got Obsidian. And then they even got Bethesda. And keep in mind, Sony had 2 contracted games, marketing and timed exclusives. Sony didn't say anything. It was only until Microsoft encroached Call of Duty that now you are trying to go, and this is what I'm telling people, it's because Microsoft is trying to mess with PlayStation's money. Of course, Sony's saying, it's over, we can't compete, the brand, of course they're going to say that, but the reality is simply Microsoft is trying to encroach in dollars, billions of dollars that Sony gets from this franchise, and they don't want, in my opinion, they don't want Microsoft to have the power. People are wondering, okay, why Sony? I could think Microsoft could say, hey, we're going to give Sony 50 years of COD, and Sony will still say no. Because to me, I think the real thing Sony's worried about is that if Microsoft does own ABK and they own COD, they have the one leverage they don't want Microsoft to have. And it's not no more marketing rights or anything like that. It's simply Microsoft saying, hey, Sony, hey, like we promised, you have COD. Hell, you have COD until the day you stop making games. But that 30% royalty, we're done with it. I'm not leaving. We just said, I want 85%. You only get 15%. That's
do you not think it's about mobile? Do you not think that's a big
I don't think it's about mobile because Sony's. So Microsoft gain in mobile doesn't interfere with Sony's plan. You understand? Absolutely. I think the main crux is that negotiating of Microsoft being able to take half the revenue away from Sony every single year by simply saying that 30% royalty fee, we're not paying that. We're only paying 15. Take it or leave it.
You've already, Gaz has already said that Microsoft came out and said it's going to be biannual. So even if they give Sony everything and say you can have this for PlayStation Plus and you can have it for 10 years, but they're also saying you're going to have half.
They didn't have.
As if we
they're didn't have.
So yeah. Money. So even if Sony was like everything was going, even if the scenario was we'll always have Call of Duty, we'll still get our 30%. Nothing changes. But if Microsoft decides, but we're only releasing every 3 years, Sony's going to be like, the fuck hell you are. Like, what? Like, why would you even do that? Like, you literally have a game, even when it sucks, it sells 20 million. It's absolutely trash. Why would you not? Like, what is wrong with you?
But do you really think they would go that far? Because
no, they're not. That game's coming out every year.
Yeah, and they've said it that, well, whether or not you want to believe them, but their profit and loss sheet relies heavily on PlayStation. It needs that to recoup that money.
Well, that's because that's what
they said.
So my opinion,
68% of the fan base is on PlayStation.
So I'm gonna tell you my opinion, and I still well now because I didn't think it was gonna go down this far, right? But in the beginning, when this Activision deal started, my view was Warzone. And any Warzone updates, Warzone 2, all of that will stay perpetually on PlayStation. That's not going nowhere because that's a community that's perpetual. It's a live service game. But the annual Call of Duty, that will eventually go exclusive. Because each Call of Duty has to, even though it's popular and it sells, every single Call of Duty has to reestablish the fan base.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Modern Warfare 2, which just came out, you had to reestablish that multiplayer fan base. So it's not like Warzone where it's perpetual. Like the next Call of Duty that comes out next year, nobody has that. No one owns it. So now, when next year comes, and I don't think it's next year. I felt that was going to be like the next generation. So imagine PlayStation 6, the year PlayStation 6 comes out, and the year the new Xbox comes out. That's a clean slate for everybody. Nobody owns the console. Nobody has a PlayStation next generation one. Nobody has the next generation Xbox, right? And that's the time for Microsoft to say, hey, Call of Duty will only be on the next generation platform for Xbox, not on PlayStation.
Yeah, well, that's
a shift in decision making. Yeah. Now, people who don't own anything would be like, well, I'm going to get an Xbox now.
But that's why Jim Ryan had an issue with they've only offered it for 3 years, because 3 years plus the two existing contracts takes us to around about when next gen is starting anyway. The 10 years doesn't. The 10 years does take us.
So when you do the math, I was like, that's it. I know it. I'm like, I know it, Microsoft. You bastards, burn it down. I mean, I haven't bought a Call of Duty like since 2018, but I'm like, I knew it, right? I'm like, I knew it, and it's because, like, when I look at, I don't look at the power of exclusives from a biased lens, meaning, oh, that's only a Sony thing. Regardless of the platform, like I said, I've been playing games going all the way back to ColecoVision. And the power of selling your platform is through exclusives. Sure, a lot of people play the multi-plat, but you got to find a way to be different than somebody else. And things like power, resolution, that's not really easily sellable. What's easily sellable is when you walk in a store, you see a poster and Spider-Man's there. That's easy.
Yeah. Yep.
When you walk in a store during the 360 days and you see Halo 3 and the other side Resistance, that you know which console you're buying. That's Master Chief. I'm buying the 360. Yeah. It's easy. Exclusive is so easy to get a person to sell a console. Nintendo's like the masters of it. You put a picture of Mario or Link, that's it. Done. So, give me that, right? So, I knew. So, like, going back to the Bethesda, you were right. Myself, Craig, J-Dub, we were having arguments. When Microsoft announced that they're in the process of Bethesda, people literally argued, no, Starfield's still coming to PlayStation or Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, we were like, no.
I'm like, no, it's not. Oh, but Microsoft says they don't have the intention. I'm like, bro, you may not have the intention today, but now tomorrow you do intend. Intentions can shift. And I'm telling people, you are not going to play Starfield on your PlayStation. You might as well give up on that now. Get an Xbox or get a PC. No, because Fallout sold 15 million and you need PlayStation to sell that much. I'm like, listen.
They don't care about sales.
They don't care. They care about Game Pass. And they're going to, and what happened? Starfield got exclusive. And everybody's shocked. And I'm like, like that's the power of exclusives.
Yeah, that's another reason you don't listen to Phil Spencer what he's saying, right? He talks out the side of his fucking head. Next week he's gonna say something that's gonna redact everything that he just said, you know. So it is business. I don't blame him personally.
It is business. I would do the same. Listen, if Microsoft gave me a 7-figure check and be like, Portorock, find a goddamn way to get Call of Duty, I'd be like, oh, that's easy. Just pull up Sony's, third quarter report. They said they got 5 games, and one of them's exclusive to them, Genshin Impact. They make tons of money on microtransaction. Call of Duty's not going to kill them. Here you go, done. And they'd be like, oh, shit. That's why I'm surprised Microsoft hasn't used that angle. Sony literally told them Genshin is, is not on Xbox. And Sony put up the funds for that. So Sony's making tons of money off of Genshin Impact, right? And they still got Fortnite, Apex Legends, right?
I think that Microsoft actually rejected Genshin. They had the offer to do that.
Oh yeah, so they went like. You know what's funny? Like I'm noticing a trend here. Like you seen the Xbox On, documentary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that's almost like a trend. Like apparently, Rockstar went to them first. They said, no, right? Then it comes out Marvel approached Microsoft first for Spider-Man. No, we don't want it. The developers of Genshin Impact, we're not like, how many?
David Cage approached them with that 3-tier thing where he had with Heavy Rain and stuff like that. They said no. Like, I mean, it's Yakuza went to them. They said no.
Like the power of hindsight. Like how many? Like this is, But then they'd be like, "Hey, we got Peppa Pig. Sure, throw the bank." It's just weird. Hey, I'm gonna hit up some super chats. So first, I'll start off with Alize187. Thank you for becoming a member. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm gonna give credit to Gaz and Asa. This is what it takes to get some new members. So I think I might have you guys come in every week. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Black Metal Gamer. Thank you for the super. He says, I call the subscription service game trash. Oh, boy. It's just...
Well, let me tell you all something that's happening in the United States. And Microsoft was actually ahead of the curve. Chase Bank just got a loan from the government for over $1 billion to buy a bunch of houses and turn everybody into renters. Because they know you can't afford the houses. So Microsoft is literally saying we don't care about ownership, so they're already preparing people for that inevitability for you not to own anything. That's what they're doing. This is starting to happen in the housing market. So once you start hearing that, don't be shocked if you next year you see something about Chase Bank and rental property houses. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I heard that on 60 frames no lag. So Microsoft, they don't care about the sales. They know you ain't gonna get it anyway.
Only the gaming community could talk about acquisitions and real estate. Like, we are the masters. There is no topic we cannot talk.
Well, that's the truth. Yeah, it's just that happens. But Microsoft, with their subscription service, they're already conditioning you not to own.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to make it very easy to pass off all the other stuff. So
it's not even wrong though. Like games is the last part of Microsoft doing that. They've already done it everywhere else in their business.
Yes,
so it's absolutely what Microsoft
I
does.
say that all the time with Office.
Sure.
Like, you can't buy Microsoft Office anymore. You just can't buy it. You have to subscribe to it. And I'm like, you mother effers, right? And almost every business, I'm like in the Marines, the U.S. government, they contracted, Azure. So everything is Office, cloud, everything. So obviously I'm going to use it at home, and then my school, the college I'm into is Microsoft Office. Luckily they give it for free. So, but
that's their DNA. That's their DNA. When they did DOS, it was, yes, we will, we will sell it. We won't sell it to you. We'll let you use it, and we're going to lease it out to other people. So
look at who even cars are doing it. Like, a subscription to use your car seat heater. I think BMW.
I heard about that.
Looking into that,
Audi? Yes, Audi or BMW.
One of the high-end cars. I think it's BMW. Literally, like, they're not selling. Like, every car's gonna come with a heated seat, but in order to use it, you have to sign up for a subscription. Like, what? Yep. It's just my god! Like,
dystopian futures here.
Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you have a heated seat, but you can't use it because you didn't sign a subscription or something. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is ridiculous. Yep. Lester, he says, why did Phil Spencer send in a hitman to take out Bobby Kotick for Activision? Like,
what?
Like, why didn't? Are you trying to say why didn't or why did he? Like, did something happen to Bobby?
Why is still there?
Oh, why didn't he? Okay, that's probably why he meant. Yeah. I don't know. So a lot of CEOs are. But a lot of CEOs are protected. A lot of them are protected. Like, if you fire them, they get like
golden parachute.
Yeah, they get like a golden parachute back, like 300 million or some weird shit.
But not only that, right? Regardless of if you take away the scandals, that stuff that was going on, all the bad stuff that was going on at Blizzard Activision, it's a successful company. It prints a shitload of money year after year. So at the end of the day, the shareholders, they don't care about the other shit. They just care about that. And so they want him there, right? Sure, if things got messy, they hope that people would, forget it and stuff and let that shit go. But now that Microsoft swooped in, it's a different thing. But Bobby Kotick, he's going to get a big payday at the end of it. But at the end of the day, again, people see him as, sure, there was this, some stuff going on at the company, but he himself, this guy ran a successful company, so he'll be able to go somewhere else.
Yeah. This goes back to Gaz, like the lack of ethics. Kotick is like he's probably the poster child for unethical behavior, just a terrible image. But bring in that money, baby. Bring in the money.
The thing with Kotick is, as much as he is a whatever character, if Microsoft don't, after the acquisition completes, get rid of him immediately, or there's no way that he doesn't get a pay package. He's going to get a pay package anyway. That's the reality of life. But if Microsoft and Phil Spencer don't actively seek to get him out, then they are complicit with Kotick and ratifying all his past behavior.
They absorb the image. You absorb the problem. Yeah, and I don't think Microsoft's going to keep him. I don't think they will.
I don't think so either. At the moment, they have to play the game and be nice because he's there like the cyst that you have to tolerate. But I'm not saying that they will get rid of him. I have some questions around that. But if they don't, then Microsoft is complicit. Phil Phil Spencer's complicit in all this bullshit about we care about staff and health.
They don't care.
well-being,
They
blah, blah, blah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Then ultimately that's a big red light there about what's going on. And let's proof's in the pudding then. Let's see what if this deal goes through, by the way. Like I said before the show started, people underestimate how brittle this deal is now because it's 50-50. Because Asa, you mentioned on Go Live about the punitive costs involved as time
3 to
goes
4
on.
billion.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
3 to 4
before
billion
we touch
dollars.
on that, let me finish the super chats. I want Asa to cover that. So I'm gonna lay the groundwork for everybody, and I would love Asa to touch on that because I learned that from you guys. Listen to your podcast, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's a game changer. I'm like, holy, I didn't even realize that. But to move on, Mello the Phil Jester says he said bukkake, bro. Like, yo, telling you, Gaz is bringing the sauce, and we mixing it up with the sazon up in here for your enjoyment.
Have it 4 times every week.
Have a plate. Have a plate. Serve yourself up a plate. Braxton, he says, personally want more first-party RPGs from PlayStation rather than having to force all of their best devs to stop what they're doing and try to replace COD. Also think CMA and EU will determine the fate of the deal. So I think Sony's a bit more strategic. I think they're just expanding the capabilities for these live service games. I don't think they're just simply saying, hey, Sucker Punch, do a first-person shooter. I don't think that. I hope.
No, I'm not suggesting that.
Yeah,
no.
But they are doing live service game. It's just they're all in on that one. They see the money into it. They bought Bungie to get that expertise. So that's all.
I think they overpaid for Bungie.
You think so?
I think they overpaid for, but ultimately it will pay off. But it was a desperate buy. I said this on BG's podcast, and everyone literally flambéed me every time I said this. But I do think they overpaid.
Started. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go.
I was gonna say that deal started up a year before the pandemic started, and they just had to put everything on hold.
No, but Gaz isn't wrong, right?
You think they overpaid?
No. Well, I didn't say overpay, but we gotta understand
it's a desperate buy, but it will pay off. But it goes to show that it's almost them holding their hands up and said, "Hey, shit, we need a studio that has some proficiency in delivering first-person experiences."
And I don't think there's anything wrong to say that Sony got a desperate buy because without Bungie, who did they have as a big multiplayer live service expert? They don't have that.
They don't have that.
They don't they don't have it at all. They tried, it just doesn't work. I mean, the closest was at one point the closest and best multiplayer they had was Zipper with SOCOM and SOCOM 2, huge and whatever.
Yeah.
And then time comes from everybody. Not everybody can have a long sustaining. Zipper went with Mag. Mag was, even though it was great, it just didn't hit the success that it was supposed to hit. They gave SOCOM to another developer. They couldn't recreate the magic, and then that's just how it is. The next best first-person shooter was probably Guerrilla, but you saw how many Killzones they made, and really only one really was successful, which was Killzone 2. Killzone 1 was a laughing joke, right? The Halo killer. So that was a meme in itself. Killzone 2 was actually good, but then they made Killzone 3, and it was very Call of Duty-ish, and then Shadowfall was just trash. Yeah, it was. You see, so Sony from a first-person or live service perspective, they didn't have it. So Bungie was imperative. So while I can say they overpaid, but I don't think
it's necessary.
It's necessary, and if Bungie does actually help them make great multiplayer games, then it becomes all worth it. It's like
absolutely it will. I think
it actually did the job.
I would love. I don't know why Bungie just gives this bullshit spiel about independence. I genuinely think it would be incredible for the industry that Bungie's titles are PlayStation exclusive, because it just furthers competition in this space, in the first person space. You can't just let Microsoft have free reign at it. Same way with the third person whatever games. I'm so annoyed that Bungie's games are multi-plat. I know it'll make them money, it makes financial sense, but I think generally for competition, I would love, and the landscape, I would love Bungie to deliver a Halo killer from the studio that made Halo on PlayStation, because that's the kind of, that will reinvigorate competition. That's where my mindset is when about allowing COD and Activision ABK with Microsoft. They've got this foothold on first-person shooters. Sony has been coasting with COD and relying on its third-party deals with them. Give them an incentive, a real incentive to deliver an exclusive first-person game to combat that. Then you'll see real competition, and that's my mindset behind it.
Yeah.
But
I think Bungie has a little bit of PTSD. Because what I mean by that is, if Bungie never made the move to leave Microsoft, we probably would not have Destiny. Because Microsoft was not interested in Destiny. They said, no, we want Halo. And I think Bungie never wants to be in a position where that might repeat again. Where they could be like, hey, we want to try this. And they'd be like, no, stick with this. So I think and I don't think Sony would do that. I think they would, like, if there's any company that will let Bungie do whatever, obviously they let them do what they want, right? So that won't happen. But I think that one event, Bungie probably will say, never again. Never. We put in a position where, hey, we tell a publisher, hey, we have a great idea, and they just shut us down. And now we have to fight this battle of, well, then we don't want to be a part of you. And now we lost our right to Halo, which is our game, but because of the contract, you get to keep it. So we leave with nothing. Like, I don't think they ever want to. And I think that's what it is. I think it's that little PTSD, like, nah, we will never be in this. Because even in the contract, any new game Bungie makes, it belongs to them. So they could leave Sony and take everything. And Sony stays with none, which I think rightfully so. I don't think that's bad. But they made sure they will never be placed in that position ever again. And I think that's what it is, what's going on. But I do agree with you. Because, like, if Bungie creates an exclusive shooter, Microsoft's be like, hold up. We cannot allow. If there's one thing we cannot allow, we could lose everything to Sony, but not the first-person shooter title. Like, that's our title. Like, there's just
even
no
one
way.
title, a space-based futuristic FPS that embarrasses Halo. You've got it all set up. I think that would make sense. Shockwaves. It would be so much fun to witness, like just to see the fallout, because Xbox deserves it after what it did with Halo. I'd love to see it. Okay. That's the vindictive nature in
me. That's you want war. You're like the elf in Lord of the Rings. I will have war. I will. E came with the super chat. He says, I think the Xbox main problem, they only want timed exclusives if they can shove it in Game Pass. Not every publisher wants to give their game away. I personally think that's a crutch for Microsoft. And what I mean by that is Microsoft probably has opportunity to get, in this gen and every gen after, a lot of titles, timed exclusives for a year, 2 years, whatever, right? But if they impose Game Pass, how many developers, publishers be like, no deal then. So how many run away from the table at the mention of Game Pass? You know, I think that's a self-imposed crutch where Microsoft, if you really want this good title and they're telling you, no, we're not doing day and then Game Pass, fine. You don't have to put out
no developers are doing that.
Yeah, but we still want it on Xbox.
Game Pass is like money up front.
Yeah. But but some developers may not want that, or publishers may not want that. They want the $70
there'll be publishers
sale.
that say that's not enough money up front, but there's no publishers that don't want money up front.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Lester, again, he says, no, what I meant was, do y'all think Bobby would have went through on this deal if he didn't get caught up in some mess? What if Phil set up Bobby? What? Yo, Lester, what's he talking about? I'm probably lost.
I think Lester's trying to suggest... What's going on, Asa?
So the whole thing was like Microsoft went in at a moment of opportunity because Activision Blizzard got caught up in a whole load of scandals all at once.
Okay.
But that did drive
they probably wouldn't be settling.
Yeah, that did drive their overall market value down. So that helped. I'm sure it didn't hurt.
I really don't think this would have happened at all if that hadn't happened. I think the day that news broke, that's when they started talking.
Oh, okay, I got it. I see what you're saying, that Microsoft saw the opportune time of weakness in the company and be like, hey, we're coming in like Jesus. We got you. Give us your sins. We'll take all your sins. With loads of money. Okay, so now that we got the super chats out the way, go back to Asa. So Asa, on the podcast, on your Game On Daily podcast, on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern? Is that
4
correct?
p.m. Eastern, yeah.
Yeah, 4 p.m. Eastern. I learned that there's some stipulations to this deal that can cost Microsoft significant amount of money simply because the deal is not happening at certain time frames. Meaning, if certain things don't happen, Activision just gets money from Microsoft. Can you explain to my audience exactly what you learned? And because this is, I think, is really huge.
There's a couple of really like interesting dates coming up, inflection points kind of thing. So the FTC are obviously suing Microsoft to try and block the deal, and they're going to court in August next year. But there's some dates in the run-up where, at the moment, if Microsoft say like, deal's off, we're going to walk away now, they'll have to pay Activision Blizzard $2 billion.
Just because they said we're done. Just by saying, we're done.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an exit fee.
Exit fee.
Yeah.
It is.
That's like walking to Walmart. Yeah, I got none on the shelf. You still have to pay. For what?
That's a sorry for wasting your time fee. Like, But today, if they walk away right now, it's $2 billion. There's a couple of dates where it goes up by $500 million, so $500 million at a time. So those are two inflection points, because Microsoft are going to sit in their boardroom and say, we still don't know if this is going through. Are we really just going to blow another $500 million on it when we could walk away now? It's like a poker game. They've put a certain amount in. Do they really want to keep raising the stakes? So there's two of those. It goes $500 million at a time. So $3 billion is like the final exit fee if it falls apart. And the other date that's really important is if the deal doesn't go through by a certain date in June, whole thing's off and they have to renegotiate it. Everything that they've agreed price-wise falls apart. So they have to renegotiate with Activision Blizzard.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's say like if the deal falls, right? And then, all right, we're negotiating. And for whatever reason, Activision stocks go up. Activision be like, well, our value's a little bit higher, so it's no longer a $60 billion, $68 billion deal. This is more like an $80 billion deal.
Shaggy.
Right? Or it could get worse. It depends, right? Stocks could just plummet. And now Microsoft's going to be like, yeah, we're not paying $70 billion.
Because it could be like, maybe Amazon want a piece now. Maybe now you're bidding against someone. Is it like,
yeah. Or maybe Apple gets involved.
Yeah.
That's why people are. I mean, like when I made my video, everyone was saying, "Oh, you're so stupid." Obviously, Xbox gonna win the case. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? How do you know that? Microsoft is paying.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't see no reason on why this wouldn't happen. I know people are telling me, competition and the emergence of. I'm like, shut up. Like, I don't want to hear that. Like, no one's really convincing me on why this is not gonna happen. It's just. I just didn't see it, right? You know,
no, I did.
I just didn't see it.
It's very sketchy. People,
the certainty on either side. In most, like almost everything that happens, where you're guessing the future and people are so certain, it's like you're just not looking. Then, if you're that certain, you're just not paying attention.
I just didn't see anything, and I'm like, holy cow, this is getting weird now. All this, like, what's happening now? Like.
Can you imagine how much fun it would be actually if the two fell apart? But can you imagine?
It would be a great listen, guys. You're about to make lots of super chat that day on your channel.
Oh yeah.
Because you're just gonna draw, especially if you get the right people. You get like Dark Me.
J-Dub is on the show.
Like 90% of your chat is just gonna be some type of color that's just flowing. Like you'll have your website paid off that day.
Exactly.
That's a good question. What if scenario, and from a perspective of you covering the news and getting a sense of the pulse of the community, what if this deal doesn't happen? What if Microsoft says, hey, based on whatever, and they're going to have a nice spin. We attempted. We thought we could provide this great service, but it's not going to happen. But don't worry, we'll still go on with what we have. How would the community react to that? And how would you feel about Microsoft? Just give me... Microsoft announces the deal's not happening, and they're done. They're no longer pursuing it. Like, what's your reaction? What would be your reaction?
Me, I'd still laugh. I think the whole thing's funny. I don't care and never have cared if Microsoft get Activision Blizzard or not. I like Blizzard. Like, I used to like Blizzard when they were a good company, but if the deal falls through, I'm just gonna have a good laugh about it. The fact that it's like Phil's silver tongue that's causing most of the problems now, I take a little bit of satisfaction from that, because I don't like I don't like that they were like so misleading and they kept people talking for so long on the ZeniMax thing. So if that is the reason that it falls through, then I'm just gonna have a little chuckle.
I don't think it's
Ace's version of a little chuckle, like you see him on a podcast, he'll just be like
a $70 billion chuckle right there.
That's it. That's all you'll see from Asa. You just see him be like, and then that's it.
But that's how much I care.
Wow, Gaz is raging on the camera.
Yeah, me, I'm gonna be like,
like it's supposed to be hilarious. So like, and Ace's like,
oh man,
oh well,
bro. What
hey,
I don't
Gaz,
want to do.
how would you feel? Like, what would be your reaction? Like
bro,
all of this.
I'm just saying. J-Dub, get the holy water ready. I'm coming. He's
gonna be baptized in the waters of greatness.
Yeah. Because look, and everyone's like playing the people writing letters to the fucking CMA. I mean, that just made me prolapse. That was fucking sad. Look, Microsoft picked this fight. Microsoft decided that they had the appetite for $70 billion, and now we're hearing bullshit excuses already that, the reason why they didn't show games at the Game Awards is because of this deal, and they're scared of regulators, and it's already affecting us gamers already. So if this is a continuation of that, the deal falls through, I have to ask myself, well, this company, that $1 trillion company, couldn't even, in my opinion, despite the very high figure of the transaction and an emboldened FTC that wants to make a political point, this should go through. Because if you have competent lawyers, you have enough of a case here as someone who is not a market leader to push this through. I sincerely believe a competent group of lawyers can make this deal go through, but I'm not seeing that kind of fire. So if this deal falls through, you're going to see a lot of Xbox guys like, now it's retaliation time. And I'm like,
now we're going to buy Japan. Like, you couldn't get Activision, you're going to get Japanese developers? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm like, okay, well, fucking for 2 years you fucked around, and now all of a sudden, they're gonna buy Capcom. And then I'm like, go fuck yourself. At this point, I made source videos repping you. I was celebrating. I genuinely believe ABK would be good under Microsoft, but you can't fight that fight. The deal falls through. Then I'm like, what the fuck have you done? And then all this time, you still have to deliver this exclusive. So are you actually going to deliver that quality? Because if you don't do that, I withstood a failed generation of the Xbox One. Why? Because I kind of went to PC, kind of got a bit tired of the single player format that PlayStation relies on too much because I'm a multiplayer centric gamer. But now I'm just coming and getting tired of the promises. And if now you're going to dangle another promise and another speculative buy, who are they going to buy? Who are they going to buy? You got enough fucking studios as it is. Yeah. Who are you going to buy to fix your problems? It's kind of frustrating.
They have to show improve, man. They have more studios than Nintendo and Sony. It's like, here's the thing, right? And I'm just gonna put it out there. As a business owner and as a business manager, you're the head of the company. Your job is to foresee things 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5, 10 years down the road. Before you made that business decision to buy Bethesda, you should have did your due diligence to go see what studios they had, what were they working on, when were those games going to be out, so you can have your roadmap. You do that with your internal teams that you already had, right? The Halo, Gears, and Forza teams or whatever. So you go and when you shopping around, you find somebody who got some stuff together. Okay, this is coming out in 2 years. Okay, cool. This is coming out in 3 years. Cool. This is a roadmap that we're putting together with our IP that we're going to need. Steady stream of games, right? Now you're going to go and try to spend $70 billion to get some more people, and it's I just don't understand how they have all of these studios, 30-some studios, and they go all of 2022, right, with no fucking first-party game. That's epic failure. Somebody should have been fired. I don't know if it was Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, or somebody, but why even make those purchases if in the short term, by the short term, I mean like 2-3 years, you're not going to have your shit together. Did you not see this new generation approaching? Did you not know that 2020 was going to come? You dropped multiple consoles. You had no fucking first-party games the first year. You released the Halo and Forza. Halo. No launch games.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Exactly, right? So they tell you the launch year, they tell you, okay, well, wait, you got the most powerful console. Just wait, the games are coming next year, right? The next year, you get the same stuff that you've been complaining about the previous 5, 6, 7 years. We're tired of Halo, Gears, and Forza. Give us something different, right? So they give you the Halo and the Forza, and then here it is the next year, 2022. The next year, they give you less than that. They give you zero. So here we are approaching 2023. These guys are still trying to spend $70 billion on more acquisitions, more publishers, more studios, and it's still looking light on the 2023 scene. Outside of Starfield and Redfall,
we got 2022 games being delayed, but yeah,
absolutely. But like, what else? I mean, what else? Is there?
You got to remember.
And I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the little bitty, the tinky winky games. I'm talking about games that real gamers are. You listen. Nobody spent $500 for the world's most powerful fucking console to play the Pentiment. Let's face it, right? So you guys know what I mean when I say we're ready for the real games to come out, the real next gen experiences, right? And so I don't know, man, and that's why I keep washing my hands with Microsoft. Every time, like, they take a step forward, there's like 3 steps back. And at the end of the day, it's about if you're a gamer, it's really all about the games. It's not about anything else but the games. So we keep going down this road of wait. We've been waiting for 10 years, man, for that system to get running and get pumping. And it's never coming. And I'm already at the mindset right now. By the time they actually have some good games and they have a rhythm going, it'll be another generation.
I'm gonna say this. So games like Pentiment, there's nothing wrong with Pentiment or Scorn, like in general, right? Really not. It's like Heavy Rain, and there's nothing wrong with those games unless those are your headliners. Like Sifu. Sifu's a great game, but it wasn't the best PlayStation game of this year. If if Sifu would have, like, if there was no God of War, if there was no Horizon Zero Dawn, no Gran Turismo, even though me personally, Gran Turismo's trash. If Sifu and Stray, was PlayStation headliners, I would be like, what the what? Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? Like, what? Like, what the hell's going on? This is not, you understand? So those games are fine, but they're like in the middle of their headliners, right? Here's the thing.
But you've got to cut Phil some slack. He's only been in charge for 8 years.
He's only been in charge for 8 years. Gotta give him time. But you know what's funny?
He did save Xbox. He did save Xbox.
You know what's funny? He saved, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you save someone's life, but they're paraplegic. Like, thanks.
Yeah, but
like, after shit through a tube and I can't clean my own ass, I think I'd rather be dead. Like, I'm just, I don't know if this is gonna work out. What you I saved your life, dude. Bro, I'm paralyzed from the neck down. Kill me. Kill me.
Okay, 2023. You're gonna start to learn to walk and maybe run. Just wait.
Go do physical therapy. Like, hey, today you might be able to wipe your own ass. Like, let's try it.
Listen, all they need to deliver. If they deliver one, like, the show in January, they just need one show that we will forget about a lot of this.
Yes.
All it needs to take is one show. But it's taken a long time.
Well, I don't know about show. You think it's a show? Because from our end, we've been hearing, and I will tell you from our perspective,
we're done with shows.
Me and J-Dub, we've been hearing the whole show thing since 2017.
Yeah,
literally, like me and J-Dub on podcasts.
I mean,
on Xbox podcasts,
you had a pretty big show.
Like, I mean, that was like what happened in 2018.
Well, they announced all the 5 studios that they're acquiring.
Oh yeah, and you know what? That was pretty big, right? And we thought, all right, finally, we're gonna get something, and here we are,
and nothing. Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what's funny? Like, people should be able to chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. Like, the acquisition, to me is a different group of people dealing with that. But the people developing the games should be a separate group, and like
I said this yesterday.
The plan should still be going. So regardless of what happens with ABK, what you have should be full steam ahead. Like, what confuses me out of all the purchases is Ninja Theory, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm confused. Because Ninja Theory, like Hellblade, I love Hellblade, right? It's a great game. You know, there's a video I made years ago when the game only sold like 150K. I was probably the only one in the community that felt that game should have sold more, especially on the PlayStation. And every PlayStation fan was
you're
against
right.
me.
You're
Everybody
right.
was mad at me. Oh, it's not that big, it's niche. And I'm like, yo, with the shit talking we did with Xbox guys, because this game was coming out exclusive to us, there is no way this game should only be at 150. Listen, 500K at least. Like, that's not a lot. Like, 150? Are you fucking kidding? Like, you can trip over and sell 100. I can make a game that sells 150 on PlayStation. Like, are you kidding me? So, but anyway, I was following that game and I loved Ninja Theory. And I was actually happy when Microsoft announced the acquisition of Ninja Theory, because Ninja Theory was one of those studios that if they had one flop, they're done. Because they literally, like, I followed the progress of Hellblade, because from the first look, I'm like, oh, this game is great. That game the only reason why that game took a long time to make, because they had to stop making it to earn money by working on other projects. Then they would make money, then they continue. And they were going back and forth between developing and stopping developing to earn money. If that game would have flopped, there would be no Ninja Theory, right? So the fact that Microsoft acquired it, I'm like, oh, thank God, Ninja Theory's safe. They now, like, I think if Ninja Theory didn't have Microsoft and they released Bleeding Edge, that's it, it's done. There would be no Ninja Theory right now. They wouldn't have survived the failure of Bleeding. But the thing is, the game Hellblade is not one of those. It's not like The Last of Us. It doesn't take 5-6 years to make. In fact, they went heavy into talking about the dev cycle. They actually don't want to do that, right? They actually want AAA quality game, but not the overbloated production of 1,000 people. Release it only takes them 2-3 years to make it, and it's a good quality game like Hellblade. And I'm like, wait a minute. So Ninja Theory's been acquired since 2008. Like, where the hell is Hellblade? It shouldn't be taken. Like, think about it. Hellblade came out in 2017. That is the same year, Horizon Zero Dawn came out. And then a year later, God of War and Spider-Man came out. Now, here we are, sequel to Horizon, sequel to God of War, and we're about to get a sequel to Spider-Man. And still no Hellblade.
But I'm playing Bleeding Edge right now.
Oh man, stop! How many people's in your lobby? Like 2? But you see what I'm talking about? Like, we have bigger production games, and they're already out, and one's about to come out. Where is Hellblade? Like, why? I don't get that. Like,
I mean, this is the game that was revealed with the console, and still doesn't even have a release date. It had one gameplay showing, which was barely a gameplay showing, because she just walked forward and then she walked back, and I don't know how much of that was gameplay. Press up on the analog stick, and then press back down on the analog stick.
Yep, there's that big ass dude. Turn around and get out of here. But I love the game. I still have hope for Hellblade 2. I'm excited for it, right?
I do.
Because I fell in love with the game. That game is what got me into starting wearing headsets, because before I was never a headset game. I just didn't really like it. Like, it was cumbersome. But people told me, don't play that game without a headset, because you're going to miss pretty much half of what the game's about. I'm like, all right. And that game got me into, I'm going to start playing games with headsets, because I love that, the sound inversion.
Sound design.
It really, like, these, like, I'll be honest, there was a time playing the game, those voices, I'm like, yo, shut the fuck up. And then my wife's like, and you know when you wear a headset like this, you tend to talk louder because your ears are muffled. So I'm like in a room like, just shut the fuck up already. And my wife comes in like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, holy shit, this game is driving me mad. Because they're like, look out behind you. And I look out behind you and there's no one there. And I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, but that's the whole point. It was like, if you watch the documentary after the game ended. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's amazing. And they did that. Like, they give you a taste of madness. And I was like, wow, this is incredible, right? And I wish them the best of luck. I hope they do achieve massive success with Microsoft, right?
I think they will. I think it's a win-win for them, because they're technologically the bar is raised. They have all this access to tech. The game looks beautiful. If you see the guys, whatever is his main guy, he's always like chilling with models and on holiday. So he's getting that Microsoft money. I don't know if he's developing the game.
Too much. Like you're getting too much vacation.
If you watch his Instagram, he's always on holiday.
Yeah, I better see some crunch.
And this is another problem, Microsoft. We had David Jaffe on, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, Sony would send out a team to just go there, schlep up in a crappy hotel next to the studio and do quality control. Go in there and say, all right, what are you guys working on? What do you need help on? Whereas Microsoft is like, hands off, completely doing nothing. And we've already had that with the initiative with half of the people moving. Their quadruple A studio has literally most of its talented people leave, and now Crystal Dynamics has come in to join develop. The same thing with Undead Labs. They said Microsoft was completely hands off. They wanted support from them because they were too hands off. So Microsoft has a lot to prove with its management. It goes to show that if all this spending of money doesn't necessarily garner success, but there are other success stories like Double Fine. Money initially automatically led to a better game that even on PlayStation guys got to experience a game that had more content as a result of Microsoft money. They just helped that. And Ninja Theory, I think Hellblade 2 will be a better game. It'll have better puzzles, better combat, better visual fidelity, obviously.
I think the graphics, it's probably going to be one of the better graphical. I believe Ninja Theory is going to be one of those. Yeah, it's going to be. They're going to be. No, but I think Ninja Theory is going to be one of those studios that actually deliver the graphics because they're a good graphical studio. So I think there's one. I think Microsoft definitely got one of those studios that if there's a studio in your portfolio that can really push good graphics outside of racing games, it's going to be Ninja Theory. Ninja Theory, I think, is going to push some great graphical looking games on that console. I really believe that. Let me hit some super chats. So we got Just Wait trying to hurt my feelings, saying Xbox makes games like the Giants kicks punts. 48-22. Man, that was so Philadelphia Eagles whooped on my New York Giants 48-22, and they muffed the punt. So you're on the block list. No, I'm just kidding. But that hurts, Just Wait. Why you do this to me? I'm bringing you great entertainment, and this is how you do me? All right, Lester. He says they should fire Phil and bring in Dwayne Johnson.
Well, he misrepresented some numbers to Warner Brothers, so that may happen.
No, with his movie Black Adam.
Yeah, with Black Adam. Yeah, he allegedly has misrepresented some numbers to executives.
DC's in shambles. Jimmy Harrison. Jimmy Harris, he said, "What's up, Rock? Always good to see you, brother. Love the show. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I got two amazing guests, and of course the panel. And then Senor Bukaki. Well, that didn't take long. I'm gonna warn you. I have the freakiest chat out of probably any podcast. There's always some sexual innuendo that they will say and then pay a super chat, right? So Senor Bukaki said, Xbox just needs great games, period. I think, absolutely, right?
That's the main opportunity.
And you know what?
What is great?
Great?
What is great, though?
Oh, stop. You know what? No, you're not. We're not doing this today. We're not doing this today, Greg. We're not doing this today. Not today.
You said it could be great because it's got a pedigree.
Not today, devil. Not today, Satan. Not today. I know what you're doing. Not today, Satan. We're not going to philosophize. I'm great.
No, I'm not. Hellblade 2, like you all were saying earlier, at least has a pedigree. Yeah. So does the Forza Motorsports. It has a pedigree. Yeah. But the other games are risky. Starfield is a new IP. So, which I'm excited because it's a new IP. We need more new IP. So just have to wait and see. That sucks though. Somebody said, "Give me $500,000, wait and see." No, I'll be showing up at your house. So with a knife and X-ray machine. So, but that's what I was saying. I mean, it's hopefully this year because I'm tired of seeing these guys on social media crying. It's just getting old. Like, if you don't like what Microsoft is doing, get rid of your Xbox. Just get rid of it. It's easy. Just sit it outside. Somebody come and get it. Maybe the squirrels will be able to play with 12T flops. I don't know.
Okay. So I want to move on to the next topic because remember they're in Europe. Our guests are in Europe, and right now they're probably they're on. You're drinking tea or coffee right now to try to stay up.
Wine.
Wine. He's a bit of wine. So the last part, because we're pretty much at the end of the year, so we're at at the end of 2 years of this year. And I want your guys' perspective. If you can touch on, so like you said, you started podcasting on YouTube, covering all types of topics. But I know you guys attracted a lot of the Xbox audience, got a lot of Xbox personalities, a lot of insiders. So you covered a lot before the launch. The promises of power. You had some great developers telling you what they could do, can't do. Other content creators telling you what they heard about PlayStation 5 versus Xbox. And then all the information on games and all that stuff. From your perspective, can you touch on what you remember hearing, conversing, talking about on your podcast, and then compare it to what ended up happening? Did it meet the mark? Is it similar? Was it like, oh no, things did not go from what we were told or what we discussed? If that makes sense, am I making sense on what I'm asking?
Yeah. Asa, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
And now that we know you're drinking wine, we know nothing but the truth is coming out. Right? Men tell truth on the two situations, when they're drunk or when they're about to die. You're not dying, so hopefully you're drunk.
I hope not.
The truth is going to come out slowly. It's like 3:30 in the morning as well.
I'm sorry.
The two, that's all good. The two things that really haven't happened are like Microsoft releasing any games. Like we thought they would release some games, so that's one that like nobody can say that they expected nothing for 2 years. The other one, the ray tracing was the big thing that they talked about. Mm-hmm. They had Andrew Goosen, who was one of the head engineers at Xbox, specifically said that ray tracing was like, it was free on Xbox. You've got your it's free extra performance. You've got your normal rasterization hardware.
Oh my god!
And you've got the dedicated ray tracing stuff. So it's really easy. Like you can run a game and then you can just add loads of ray tracing. It's fine. You can do that on Xbox.
That was a topic.
Why are you giving him ammo, man?
Listen.
Stop giving.
Oh my god! I forgot. Listen, the Gaz. Listen, it got so bad that Mark Cerny had to come out with another interview like, yo, what do you guys want me to say? Like, it's hardware. Like, I don't know what other way to put it. I remember it got so bad that Mark Cerny's like, well, let me clarify what I said already. Yes, it's hardware-based ray tracing. I don't understand. And you know, like, Mark Cerny's one of those geniuses that he's like, don't understand the low-level shit talking. So he was confused. Like, I don't understand what's going on in gaming. Like, this doesn't make sense.
There is software. No, there is software-based ray tracing as well.
Yeah.
So this was going on when they were talking about that the PS5 was RDNA 1,
1.5,
all that kind of stuff. 1.5.
I've never bought into all of that though. Like,
not you
against the letters, but yeah,
not you. But but go ahead.
Oh yeah, but go on with your side of the house and what you saw. Continue, please continue, Asa. That was a good one.
Continue.
My God, you brought. I completely forgot about that.
You are giving them too much ammo, Asa.
Well, then, guys, I'm going to stop. You do your bit. You do your bit.
I'm joking.
That was good. That was a good memory lane. I completely forgot. Like, I think somebody, in fact, it got so bad. I remembered this. Wooly Gamer was gonna there was like a fight. Like some MMA Xbox guy. Oh, I'm MMA. Come down and we'll fight. Wooly's like, all right, I'm gonna see you then. I'm thinking, isn't Wooly live in England? Is he really gonna pay $1,000 to fight an American fight a guy? I'm like, what is going on here?
This information in the hands of Portrock and J-Dub is gonna make my life harder on Twitter, man.
But I remember it got so bad that these two were gonna meet like at a gym and have like no, I'm not lying. Like, I remember Wooly Gamer, he made a video saying, oh, I can't do it because I talk about it with my wife. I was like, this was, they were really gonna fight. I was like, holy shit, what is happening?
Hold on, over ray tracing. They were going to fight over ray tracing.
What?
Yo, it was bad. Another guy was like, oh, I hang out with Marines. And I'm like, yo, what is happening in this? I'm like, yo, this was so bad. I'm like, what is happening?
We're going to fight over ray tracing.
Oh, man, it was serious. It was serious. Yo, it was serious. They were going to have a ref. The guy's like, oh, but I need you to sign a contract because I don't want to be responsible. I was like, what? And I'm just listening through this thread. I'm like, they really, this is really happening. Oh my God, it was yeah. But Asa, unless you have something else, Asa, Gaz could take over and give his reflection.
Yeah, you go for it, Gaz.
You fucked it for me, didn't you? No. And I was going to echo the same things. I think one of the big things is how long. I mean, none of us could have anticipated COVID-19 happening, and I think a byproduct of that is this cross-gen bullshit that has stalled for so long. Yes. And we've only had hardly a handful of multiplats that are up next gen only, even now. So the power debate is still generally in there, but we've not seen the power divide like it was promised. And again, I've said this on Cold Show, like we've had Jason Ronald come on, he follows me, he's a really nice guy, and they're really good to talk about power it's not showing there. It's embarrassing. Why is The Witcher 3, then Callisto Protocol, and then Need for Speed, and then Call of Duty Warzone 2, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm just like, okay, so the world's most powerful console isn't doing that, and I do not want to even hear the word "the tools" again.
My brother, but Dark was how you think. He's like, I'm done. The power, don't even talk to me about that because he's frustrated. He's really frustrated. He is so tired of that combo. He doesn't want to hear the word power ever again. He says, I got suckered. I moved on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We have. And yeah, fine. The SDK is weak. Whose problem is that? Microsoft. Fuck it. Why should I have to suffer? Because your company hasn't bothered to refine the tools. It doesn't matter. You just took a fat L. Another example of where Xbox has given a clear win, hardware proficiency, and a clear advantage, and it fucked it up. So there's that kind of frustrating. The other bit that generally in 2 years, my assessment of it is PlayStation has carried on the status quo. It's still reigns supreme. In the second year of its legacy, already very early days in this generation, it's already had a Game of the Year contender. And this year, I may not be the biggest fan of Gran Turismo, no matter how much...
me and you are there. It's trash.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo trash.
It's like... Willie and OT, I see your propaganda. It's not fooling anyone. But
I love the reverb. Like, I love the timing of the reverb.
I mean, actually, I am going to play Gran Turismo as well. But
no, it's okay if you don't. It's trash. Don't worry about it.
No, but I'm making an end of year performance. Exactly the same question, and I'm impressed at PlayStation because you have to remember PlayStation doesn't normally do this. It's uncharacteristic of PlayStation to have big bangers so early on.
True,
if PlayStation 4 until Bloodborne came out, it was pretty bad.
Sparse. Sparse did Indie Station. Sparse. Yeah. It was bad. It was like even me. Listen, oh my god. Stop. Not me. So no, people obviously during the time people were laughing at me. But I admitted, I didn't buy a PlayStation 4 until Bloodborne came out, which was 2015. I said, I'm not buying the PlayStation 4 launch. Yeah. Like, I honestly said, a lot of people thought, like, you didn't buy that launch. I'm like, listen, yes, I'm a PlayStation dude, but I'm a PlayStation dude for what you do for me. You have to do for me, not me do for you. And I did not like PlayStation 4's launch. I'm like, no. Like, what's there to play? Like, I'm not playing Killzone and
I was there day one.
What is it? Tropico 5. I'm like, I'm not playing that. Like, no, I'm just not doing that.
Listen, everyone calls me an Xbox.
5 was 1080p.
Oh my god, no. I was just not doing that. So I'm not playing Killzone.
I waited in the blistering cold. I lined up for the PlayStation 4. I was on national TV telling people why to buy the PlayStation 4.
You were a Sony pony. You were a pony.
Ever played.
I have the clip saved. If I share this,
can you share that to me? Because you did something. It's like a complete. You did something that I wouldn't even do. I'm like, hell no, I'm not buying that shit.
It's literally me queuing up, telling everyone, telling the local news channel why they should buy a PlayStation over the Xbox.
Don't release that clip. Oh, now and listen,
I'm gonna release that.
I should have warned you. I should have warned you.
Oh man!
All right, guys, I should have. All right, I should have warned you because in my chat, like people, there's this group I call the Glimmermen. I don't know who they are, but they, like, if something goes wrong, they protect me. They will find you, and they will know any information. So now that you said that, I guarantee they're going to find it. And they're going to send it to my DM, and they'll be like, Porter, I got him, and then the account gets disabled. That's how they are. They give me information, and then when I try to reply, this account's not available. I'm like, what? Like, they just, I don't know who these guys are, but they have my back on everything. It's amazing who these guys are. Like, so they're gonna find. By tonight, I'll have that video. By tonight, they'll be like, "Yup, got him."
Good luck with that.
Oh, but it's so. Oh man, so I will say you did hit on something. The cross gen. Listen. I'm gonna tell you, I am so damn sick of you PlayStation 4 gamers. Like, just die already. Like, it's been 9 goddamn years. Just fucking die already. Like, stop it. Stop buying the goddamn thing. Stop asking for free upgrades. Just shut the fuck up. Like, just shut up. Like, stop posting PS4 shares. Like, no one wants to see that shit. Like, shut down the network. Like, what? Oh my god, I can't stand that. I never seen a console have so much legs. It's annoying. Like, I still see PS4 share. Like, nobody wants to see that 1080p shit at 30 frames. Like, shut the fuck up.
I'm sick of that. Yeah,
oh my god, I'm so sick of cross-gen. Like,
it's frustrating.
Oh my god.
I mean, I hated it last gen. God, if I knew what this... I mean, the last 2 years have been pretty much been a bit of a loss. We've not had next gen or current gen, really.
No.
We haven't. And what a flipping plague tale. I mean, that's not going to do anything. It's just really annoying, man. If you play the Matrix demo, I did a video called The Future of Gaming, and I was playing the Matrix demo in there. I'm like, look at this Unreal Engine 5. And I'm like, what the fuck are the games actually look like this? I'm playing the demo. So yeah, that's in the 2 years, just to summarize, Xbox has kind of shat the bed. PlayStation has continued on strength. I have some severe questions on what PlayStation's 2023 looks like, because I think that might flip potentially in favor of Xbox. But I don't know. I mean, what is play? You got Spider-Man 2, Forspoken. The demo I wasn't that impressed with, but the final game might be better.
That's why I don't play demos, because demos is always a slice, and they always say, "Well, this is not the final product." That's why I don't like to do betas and demo. I gave up on that. I just because it's if you're gonna tell me this is not representation, then I don't want to sour the taste. I know what you mean, But Spider-Man, Forspoken, like if we're talking about first party. Really, it's Spider-Man. That's what I know guaranteed, right? And then again, there was no showcase for PlayStation. I don't know why.
Yeah, there was.
Oh, was what? The State of Play?
A smaller one?
No, the Gaming Awards.
Oh, man. I mean, so here's so this is a good conversation to have, right? I know from, content creators and Twitter community, we tend to just look at it as first party versus fourth party, which is a valid conversation to have, right? But when we look at what the console brings for the audience, I see it as the publisher needs to know their first party and what third party to get. Because to the consumer, in the general consensus, the bigger picture, outside of Twitter and content creation, most gamers don't really care who made the game, just that they know they're getting the game. So to the average PlayStation gamer, Final Fantasy 16 is no different than Spider-Man. It's an exclusive that's amazing, and this is why I bought a PS5. Who made it doesn't really matter. Like, a lot of gamers don't know Insomniac versus Square Enix. They just know, man, I love Final Fantasy, and man, to them it's just the actual content and the nature of content was knows. And I think Microsoft could work on that, right? Because your first party.
I think this is where Microsoft is actually what Phil Spencer says that they're making us smaller. He's alluding to these kind of time where Final Fantasy has a association with PlayStation, not just historically, but they have routinely timed exclusive and money at that. And that's what he's alluding to. So just trying to bring it back there. Microsoft, I think. Sitting there relying on third-party deals isn't going to cut it, because ultimately the burden of proof, this one thing, the primary lingering test is first party. Well, and until it doesn't do that, no matter how many third-party, no matter how good Game Pass is, and you got all these deals going on for big AAA third-party games, until you fix up and deliver your first party, you will always have that mark against you that you haven't proven yourself in this space.
I think that's between us as in the hardcore Twitter community. I think a weakness Microsoft have is getting the right third party. Because if you get the right third party, like if you eye the talent for a good third party and bring that to exclusive, that counts. The problem is, Microsoft's been messing that up too. Like, take for example, here's a question. Not better game, but which game between Sifu and, let's say, Scorn gained the most attention between those two? Sifu. Yeah, now, I'm not trying to say one's better than the other, but I think that's also one of Sony's... I mean, sure, you can say that, but I think that's also another talent as a Sony publisher has. they know how to get the
have
right
an eye for talent.
to cameos. Stray. Yeah. I didn't think Stray was gonna be that big. When I first heard Sony going after Stray, I'm like, oh, look at this bullshit. Next thing you know, it's a Game of the Year contender. I'm like, what the fuck? But Sony knows how to get the right games where people can have conversations and they talk about it. Versus Microsoft, they get Crossfire and then you get laughed at for having. Microsoft needs to have better eye for that third, because I think that's important, because your first party can't do it all. Sure, it's a main force behind it, but in between those gaps while your first party's getting ready to launch, hey, we got this great third party, and people are like, wow, that's amazing. And then another great third party, wow, that's just great. And I think Microsoft is missing that as well. They get like, I don't think Pentiment's a bad game, but wasn't
in-house
a big. It wasn't a big. That was in-house.
That was an in-house.
Oh yeah, Obsidian did that, right? Obsidian did that. That's Obsidian did that, right?
But Day True 49 makes another good example. Is Kana versus the Gunk. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly. Not saying Gunk may be a good game, whatever.
Project Eve, which is what's Project Eve called now?
Now it's Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade.
Oh, yams. Everybody's calling it yams. Everybody's calling it yams.
Lost Solar Side, right? Lost Solar Side.
That's another one.
Lost Solar Side versus, what was it? The other game that they got from, what's the Xbox got? Game Pass?
Wulong, something like that,
But Wulong looks pretty good, though.
Yeah.
I think that's
Wulong, but versus the other one you just mentioned. Sorry, I always forget the name. That, I think, is going to do better, because that's got more like Ghost of Tsushima / like
I think
weird vibes.
Gonna do good. I think that's a good pick. I think they did good with that one. But you know what I'm saying?
What did they get? They didn't get timed exclusivity on it. They just
because it's also coming on PlayStation. It's just Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the crutch. Microsoft's got to be like, you know what? Yes, Game Pass is the focus effort, and we'll try. But if there's an amazing game and the developer or the publisher says no, we're not going to put on Game Pass, then they have to be like, fine. Hey, it's coming to Xbox, but no. And technically, it's not first party, so it's not like they're, lying, because they only promised first party day and date. They didn't say every third party that comes to Xbox, so they do have leverage to say, you know what, we still want this big game to come. Fine. Doesn't have to be on Game Pass, but we want 1 year time exclusive in marketing. And the publisher could be like, cool, that we could agree to. Got it. They should have. They shouldn't be hardline Game Pass, because I think that boxes themselves in, right? That pushes, they back themselves in the corner for no reason. If they can't get
and listen, I've always said this. I've said this for a long time now. Xbox's issue is a management issue. It's not talent. It's not how many studios they have. It's not how many publishers they have. It's a management issue. There is nobody at Microsoft that has a knack for talent. They don't have a Shuhei Yoshida, right? They don't have a Sean Layden. They don't have someone like that who, like he said, goes around from studio to studio, checking on things, seeing what they have in the pipeline, seeing what's good, what's not good, seeing who needs help, and who doesn't need help. It's just they don't have that, and I don't know if we want to chalk this into just
expenses. Oh,
Jez Corden, he said this one time before. He said he feels like the guys at Microsoft that runs Xbox are a bunch of suits. They're in it for the business. They're not in it for the artistry and the craft, versus Sony, right? These guys are in it for the artistry, the craft. They have the technology. They have the motion capture studios. They have the movie studio. They have all of the audio studio. They have everything in house to build up their masterpieces, to where not only can they put out a Game of the Year winner, right? They can take that same Game of the Year franchise, make a TV show out of it, put it on Netflix. It's going to be big. They can turn around and make a soundtrack to it that's going to freaking go platinum, right? And from there, they can go and make comic books and whatever else they want, right? They have kind of like the total package when it comes to that, because they believe in their craft. They have the supporting cast and the support for that and the eye for that. Microsoft is just a bunch of rich guys that are just trying to fit in, and they've been doing it for 20 years. They kind of lucked up with buying some talents from Peter Moore and and I think it's Robbie Bach or whoever back in the day during the 360 era, right? They had some talent there, but once those guys left, they were once they left, once those guys left, then what happened? They ended up with the Xbox One era. Now they're with the Xbox Series X era, right? They don't have that. And shout out to David Jaffe, he said it perfectly. Microsoft needs to go and start poaching some of these executives and some of these key people from Sony. Go and throw a shitload of money at them and get them. And it's not necessarily just for them to come over just to do that. It's because they have the relationships and the connections to all of these studios all over the world, to all of these, it's about relationships. Microsoft don't have that, man. They have $2 trillion, but why the fuck are they getting stumped out by people with fucking a bus token? You see what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things.
I think we call it greed. Microsoft and Xbox does have this. Microsoft does have this. One, they have the developers. They have lots of studios under them. They probably have more studios now than they ever did. They got the studios. They got the technology. Xbox is great technology. And they have great software compilers. They own Havoc. So they have the technology. They have the money. And they have the franchises. They have Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, Perfect Dark, Wolfenstein, Doom, Quake. They got it all.
Elder Scrolls.
When you think about it, right now, Microsoft has a lot and ready to really come out swinging and have a great gen and just have perpetual generations of amazing success. But it's that management. It's just like it's like having an amazing, soccer team, football, but your manager sucks and he's calling all the wrong plays. There's nothing you can do. Gotta get rid of the coach because this guy's garbage.
It's absolutely the case, though. Because at what point, if you've got everything else on the table, why are you still not scoring?
You got an all-star team. You do.
Can I say this one thing?
I don't think. Think about it. You got Halo, Doom, and Quake. I don't think I ever would have said that there will be a world where Doom Guy and Halo are together, owned by the same person. I never thought I would say that.
Yeah.
Not even
Good
close.
Point.
Doom Guy and Halo.
I have a question for the two guests, Puerto Rock, if I can ask it real fast.
All right.
What? Because I've been trying to find this for 2 years. Maybe you two can help me.
Oh, no.
So, what is a CU and why does the Xbox have why does the
I don't know what a 52 CU mean.
Yeah, what is that? What does that even mean?
I knew it. He's taking the piss. He's taking
It's
the
a
piss.
computing unit. It's got a big chip.
All right, but what does it do? And why does it need 52 of them?
It does everything.
It does everything.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I knew it. Once you said he's been trying to find that answer for 2 years and still no one told
I've
him.
been trying to find it for 2 years. They fighting over ray tracing, so doesn't it help with ray tracing?
Okay. Can I ask you guys? I want to ask just one question. Microsoft, they tried their hands at the power, right? Phenomenally powerful hardware, and their hardware is on paper, but it's not equating into real world performance against a much weaker on paper
I would say
console. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean,
A little bit of theatrics.
Yeah. I'm just throwing that out there. So, do you think when they have their next generation, their next console, do you think they're going to tout the power, or they're not even going to dare bring that up anymore?
Well, that's assuming the matter's dead, and I don't think that's the case because, like we agreed, cross-gen has been tiding over for quite some time. There are not that many third-party multi-platform next-gen only games. I mean, Plague's Tale did run decidedly better on the series consoles over the PS5, but that's a very weird, small example of Sobo's in-house studio. So when we do see these Unreal Engine 5, which funnily enough, the demo actually worked better on PlayStation, but the UE5 games come out next year. If it is the same old bullshit of slightly better res, which let's be honest, we want more frames than res, but better res on Xbox and the frames are better on PlayStation, then that's a loss. So to your question, if it do you know how much noise we all made? Like the Xbox guys made over power. I mean, crazy. Like I mean, let's be real. Like dealer call. All of us were like we were on the power thing. Go. What else is there?
I remember how the sauce was born. I think Coach says something. You were like, "That's the sauce." And then it just took off from there. I mean, I was watching. Listen, I was watching your podcast for a while, and I was there that day. That's the sauce. That's the sauce. And then at that point, the sauce took off. I'm like, holy shit.
The sauce took off when, ironically, when the first ever episode of the sauce is when Bethesda announced that its games wouldn't be multiplayer, that they would be exclusive where Game Pass exists. That statement, that was the first thing, and now that's still up in the air apparently. No, but Jay, good question. Like at this point, if this is a loss and Xbox Series X doesn't do it, imagine next gen Xbox goes, we have the world's most power. I'll be like, shut the
He's gonna walk up to Microsoft London headquarters. Yeah. And then he's just telling him,
have you got the tools? Have you got the tools ready now this time?
Yeah. He's gonna remember Mark Cerny? He tried to tell y'all. He said, listen, don't pay attention to the T-flops. That's not an accurate way to measure performance.
I think Mark Cerny's that clever little motherfucker.
But I would say
he's ruined everything.
Yeah, one person though, and rest in peace and in good memory, is Optimus Cole. He came to the community and he honestly tried to teach everybody. He says, and this is what I learned from him, right? He says, because, he was in development game for over 30 years. He says, there's a lot of things the gamers don't realize. He says, besides just the raw specs, there are other factors. Like, who are the developers? What was their background? Did they have, he says, a lot of studios, like third party, they hire people that came from Sony. So now they hire them, and they're making a multi-plat that's both on Xbox and Sony. Who do you think is going to have the better version? Not because they're purposely fanboys, but they know the Sony architecture, and they're just learning the Xbox architecture. He says that could be a reason. One is the SDKs. Which company's providing more updates and got better mature SDKs? In this case, we're learning Sony kind of had a more mature SDK. Well, it is what it is. You can't blame a third-party studio where Sony provided more mature toolkits than Xbox and then get mad at them. So he says there's a lot of factors to that. Another thing is time and money. He says during the PS3 era, a lot of games ran better 360 because studios or really publishers was not going to give PlayStation the time and money effort to get their version running. The game was going to launch on this day. However it comes out is how it comes out. It's not their fault that Sony made a very challenging, difficult system that it would take an extra 2, 3, 4 months of development to get right. They're not going to delay their game for another 3, 4 months just because of PlayStation. Hey, it's running on PlayStation at 15 frames. It's running on Xbox Lock 30. Oh, well. It's not our fault. Sony is the one. Sony should have created a more easier system for us to work on. And he says those are the things a lot of people just don't understand behind development. So you can't, at face value, say, oh, I'm definitely going to get better versions of this. Nah, there's a lot of things behind the scene that you might be disappointed that they're not advertising to you, And I was like, really? I didn't really think about all that. He says there are studios that prefer or more used to how Sony does things than Xbox and vice versa. There's guys with PC backgrounds and they love the Xbox environment. It's you don't know who you have making the game, Again, if you have a third-party developer and you hide a ton of talent from Naughty Dog and now they're going to make a multi-plat, odds are the PS5 version is going to be the better version just because they got that on the... Hell, they were there the day it was born. They were part of the... Yeah, they were born. They were there when they were building the damn thing. And now
absolutely. And all these factors...
And vice versa.
And you've seen it.
Yeah.
You've seen it. Like Callisto Protocol, 150 Sony devs came in there, and obviously it runs better, much better, and the PC versions and the Xbox versions suffer as a result. But a lot of people think it's sabotage, but it's not. It's just common sense. These developers have worked on PlayStation. Obviously, they're going to prioritize PlayStation. They may have marketing with it, and those are PlayStation devs. Just exactly what Optimus Code was saying. Like, there's familiarity with the hardware and the tools. Why wouldn't there be? I'm not a tech guy. Asa will tell you that, but generally, that common sense suggests that. So, raw paper doesn't, and this generation has shown us that. Raw specs on paper don't translate into technical superiority necessarily, and the jury's out there after 2 years.
What are the
2
two?
years.
I kind of disagree.
Another thing Cole told me is there's also the degree of difference. He says, like, if you compare speed, right? He says, he gave me this example. He's like, Puerto Rock, also look at it this way. You can easily tell the difference between going 100 miles an hour and 50 miles an hour. I'm like, yeah, because obviously. But can you tell the difference between going 6,000 miles an hour and 5,000 miles an hour? At a certain point, it's
diminishing returns.
Yeah, and he says these graphics are going to be so good. In order to distinguish what you're going to have to zoom in 500 times and be like, see, blurry textures. But no one reasonably plays games like that. So then what's the point? He's like, they're going to get so powerful and look so good that in order to really see the difference, you're going to need a professional's going to have to tell you which is the better version. And I'm like, it's true. It's actually happening. Tell you. It's actually happening now. In order, now they're freeze framing and they're zooming in all the way in the background. And at that point, what's the point then? It's like, if to really get these comparisons, we're zooming on a tree that's way in the distance. Then at this point, it's not even worth the 15 minutes to watch this video, right? Like, I need real differences. Like, it's one 4K and one 1080p. Well, we're not seeing that huge difference anymore. So now, and he says it's only going to get minimal and minimal. Like, imagine when we start doing 8K gaming. Like, what are we going to zoom in? The the eyelash? Like, oh, this eyelash is 1440p reconstructed. Like, what? Like, it's
I said before, the checkerboard rendering and dynamic resolutions weren't going to go anywhere. They would get the technique to the algorithms will make them better. Maybe the CUs will help with the algorithms. I don't know, but I've been saying that for 2 years. I'm like, hey, this, like I said, 30 FPS wasn't going anywhere because it's up to each developer to leverage. That's what Mark Cerny said. Leverage the tools, the kits on what they feel is going to work best for them, and what they were excited about was to see what the developers are going to do. And some are doing 1440p with ray tracing, at 60 frames. Some are doing 4K 30 with ray tracing. I mean, we'll have to just kind of wait and see where we're at.
I don't mind if a developer decides to do quality mode 30 FPS, but I see no reason to not give the option of performance 60. At this point. That should be standard. We have with most games. That should be like Gotham Knights. There should be a performance mode. There should be no game that doesn't have a. Do you guys agree or disagree? I feel there should be no game that doesn't have a performance mode, even if it's 1440p performance mode. Yeah. That's just do it and let the gamer decide. At least we should not be robbed of 60 frames.
It's a no buy from me. I don't buy any game doesn't offer those options.
That's why I didn't buy Gotham Knights either. I'm like, I refuse to support Lock 30, and that's it. I'm not doing that. I'm not buying a Lock 30 game. I'm not doing it.
You're getting bougie now. The console peasants are bougie.
Listen.
I bought it on PC. And I got
on PC, right? And that's even worse.
I got my refund because it's the worst running version.
No, but that's even worse. You got console gamers Lock 30 for $70, but the PC got 60, 140 for $40. Fuck you.
Well, actually, I think I paid 16. I think I paid full price $69 for it on PC.
You're gonna lock me on 30 for 70 goddamn bucks, and a PC gamer gets it for $23 on CD keys, and he's playing it at 144 frames. Get your ass out of here! I'm not trying to hear that bullshit. I'm not doing that. I'm not buying Lock 30 games. I'm just not doing it. Like, I no, it's just not right. Like, put in the work. Give me performance mode, so that way I could play this game buttery smooth. But don't sucker me with this Lock 30 bullshit, and then that's it. Like, no, like you want $70. I'm not going to contend with that, but you got to give me 60 frames. Give me my 60 frames. It's the least you can do, right? So let me get through the super chat, and then we'll say our parting shots because I know it's very late, and I think I heard another cork pop, so I think Ace is on his second bottle of wine. So we got Lester. He says you can probably buy a PS5 on Game Pass. What? Lester, are you drinking wine too? All right, Lester's also getting drunk. P-Rock, the false prophet. Blasphemy. Blasphemy. I have done nothing but guided you to the light. You guys do your end of PlayStation review yet? No. That's gonna come another time. You know what? Let me ask you guys quickly that question.
What is that?
PlayStation. From what you guys covered to what you see now, a quick synopsis. Same in the tags box, but a quick synopsis. We'll start with Asa. How did you view PlayStation's first 2 years in comparison to what you talked about it?
Ooh, okay, after the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, I didn't expect good games from Sony in the first 2 years, so they've over-delivered on that.
Fair. That's a fair point. That is a fair point, because it's true. That's generally a problem.
I think if I have a criticism of the PlayStation, it's mostly that despite it having those games, I've probably played the Xbox more.
Mm-hmm. What made you play Xbox more? Is it Game Pass? Is it really like what?
Game Pass, quick resume, just simple things like that. So okay. I don't. There's not a lot in it, to be fair. Like I play on both, and I play on the PC as well, and I like my virtual reality. I'm really not like leaning into one or the other particularly, but it's weird that with the PlayStation having games and the Xbox under delivering there, it shouldn't be that I play more on the Xbox. So Sony need to get something in order to fix that. And the Xbox has a big advantage on if you're buying a game that's a bit older, you can be a lot more confident buying it on Xbox than you can on PlayStation because its back compat is a lot better.
Okay. Okay.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, so that's a good point. All right, Gaz, how about you? From covering PlayStation to now, when the insiders were telling you they were running, PlayStation 5 was running Resident Evil 8 at 1080p, 2 frames.
Mm-hmm. I felt for that.
You remember that? You felt for that?
I felt for that. Well, people were telling me stuff, not dealer in them. Like my other people were telling me,
and then it didn't happen. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like,
yeah, my brother is a massive pony, so me and him always arguing. It's like you and
shit. Sounds like my kind of guy. Invite him over to dinner.
Yeah, it was always bitter arguments all the time.
He sounds like he's disgusted by his brother. He's a massive pony. Like, can't even invite him over for Thanksgiving. Like, he's just terrible.
But unfortunately, he is smarter than me, so perhaps that's why. But in the 2 years, I would say it's an uncharacteristically strong PlayStation that carries on the status quo and reinforces the image of PlayStation as the rightful market leader in the current gen space. But I have questions regarding its future.
Okay.
But generally, it's extremely strong. Okay. I mean, extremely strong.
The future, is it because of the lack of communication? That's what's causing your thing? Or is it because all right, the reason why me personally, I'm not really concerned with PlayStation's future is only because of their pedigree. To me, if there was one era where I think they will flop and not make games and everything would just go to shit, was the PS3 era. The way that gen started out, I'm like, yep, this is Sony just made their Dreamcast. It's over. It's done. Like they really fucked this up, and yet they found a way to just make a shit ton of games, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are junk bond status. So that's why me, in terms of Sony making games throughout a generation, I'm not really worried about it. But there is a communication failure of, and we did talk about it. PlayStation gamers are not used to what's happening because we're used to Sony telling us what they're going to do all the way out to 3 years. Like, we will know what's coming out in 2025 by now.
Yeah.
But they haven't done that. So is that like your concern? Like, Sony's been too quiet? Or like, is there something else that you covered or discussed?
It's a double-edged sword. If you talk too much like Phil Spencer and then you don't deliver, then that's a problem. With Sony, they don't talk too much, and when they do show something, it's a sign of confidence. Like, these guys weren't even harping about it, and look, boom, out of nowhere, XXX game. The only reason I say I'm a bit concerned about the future is the immediate future in terms of their IPs. I have a feeling, based on their lack of communication, that it's going to be a sparse 2023 as far as their first parties are concerned. Okay. I also think they're going to be finding their feet with live service games, which naturally means devoting their studio resources into that. And Jim Ryan has alluded to the fact that, not all of these games are going to hit, but it only takes one game to hit for it to all be worth it.
So we get some flops.
So you were going to get.
I know
We're gonna get some Metacritic fly. We're gonna get some 60 rated. Yo, J-Dub,
We're gonna get some Xbox stuff.
prepare for the 60 rated template. We're gonna get some 60 rated templates before we get that one banger.
So I mean, that's
True point.
That's part of the course. That's part of the course. Jim Ryan has said that as much. So fair enough. That's the only thing I would say. I'll also say this, and your audience may not appreciate this, but I think, despite the fact that I love a lot of these games, I feel like the formula is growing stale. When I did the Uncharted 4 review, I gave it an 8 out of 10. And I asked the question, how long will people withstand this formula? The third-person formula. Yes, it's popular. Yes, it hits the cinematic notes well. I just want to see some strides in areas like physics, like AI, to elevate that space. Because I'm kind of, and this is just general gaming. I mean, this applies to Microsoft as well, except Microsoft doesn't have any worthy third-person games of note. But the Sony formula of that third-person cinematic game, I think there's a half-life to it, and if they've relied on it heavily, but you need to make strides in some other areas for me to be continued to be reinvigorated. Good story, great action, and great visuals, fine. But I think despite all those three things, that you may find that people will be like, right, we've done this before. What are we doing? And this, in my last video, I was talking about AI. I just want to see strides in there, at least something there. So that kind of stuff, I want to see. It's a very abstract answer. I'm generally, if between Xbox and PlayStation, I'm 100%, and I've said this before, I'm more confident in PlayStation delivering, but I'm also more excited about Xbox's future slate, because at least I know. I mean, Starfield, I'm a massive sci-fi nerd. I love space, and that's it. Interstellar vibes with Starfield, done. Fable, I love Fable 1 and 2. Everything else was shit, but look at that. That's great for me, done. Doom, bro, if you ask me my pedigree of my top 3 games, Quake 3 Arena, Halo 1,
that's incredible.
And Metal Gear Solid 1, yeah. And I used to play Quake 3 like pretty rawly, and now Microsoft own that. So what are they going to do with that? So I'm more excited about Microsoft's future slate of games. That's why I'm so salty that Bungie aren't exclusive. I wish they were. But I'm telling you, you're going to get some shit games from PlayStation as it tries its live service stuff. But I am so intrigued about The Last of Us Factions, and a multiplayer game that has Naughty Dog's full attention. And that is going to cause risk, and people are going to be annoyed, and a lot of PlayStation guys are like, multiplayer blur. And I'm so glad that's changing. I'm so glad that's changing, because I believe in Sony's studios more than a lot of PlayStation fanboys, it seems, when it comes to them delivering good MP multiplayer games. So bring back SOCOM, bring back Siphon Filter.
That's a big one. SOCOM. That I know that's probably the one game I hear all the time.
Yeah.
Can Sony bring back SOCOM?
I'll tell you this, right, and I'll kind of agree with your point, but I'll kind of disagree as well, because in that same breath as we ask for new stuff, we always go back to the tried and true. Look at Call of Duty, look at Madden, look at 2K. Year after year, these games are the same. They're just roster updates and map changes, right? But literally the same thing. There's no new technology they're using. There's nothing else about them. And these games continue to beat records year after year after year for the last 20, 30 years, right? That's just, it is what it is. That's just where gamers go. But there's a sense of standard, like, when people try new things, when they try to do stuff, the fans kind of shun it and was like, nah, you messed this up. Look at the Halo, right? The Halo community, that's like the double-edged sword that you were talking about right there. Halo needs to be reinvigorated. It needs to be rethought out, remapped out. I'd like to see what Sony did with God of War, how they changed that from the old God of War to the 2018 God of War.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, I'm talking about all their first party IP. All of that should just go start back from scratch. Forget the fan base that you had for 20, 25 years, right? Those guys, I mean, they had their day in the sun. You need to bring in new people with new, fresh ideas and do something totally different with Halo. And I'd like to see maybe a third person over the shoulder type Halo game. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing some ideas on the wall, but you got to do something different. You can't keep giving the same formula and the same stuff. So it's the same stuff that what you're seeing with Sony is what I've been saying about Microsoft. You're giving us the same stuff, and I get it. It works. You know, the Forza Horizon, it works. You know, people love it. Go with it. That's just what it is. And I think Sony found that formula where they can take different IPs. They can take some chances. It works. It breaks record. It sells. People love it. And they're going to stick with that. Now, at the same time, it looks like they're trying to rectify the situation where PlayStation don't have any multiplayer games, right? They gave you the Returnal. They gave you the Ghost of Tsushima, both have multiplayer. So they're trying stuff, and now they went out and bought whole new teams. They started whole new studios, specifically focusing towards services games, multiplayer games, and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
so
Haven's
Haven,
they got.
Haven,
I don't know if
Jay
they're gonna make a
Raymond.
good game, but
it shows you that they're listening and they're trying new stuff. So it's not like they're just sitting resting on their laurels and say, yeah, we're going to keep giving you the Spider-Mans, the God of Wars, and the Last of Us type games. Yeah. They are trying, and the fact that they are branching out with studios in China and different stuff like that. You can look at their investments, even in Bungie. The fact that they even bought Bungie, not to make their games exclusive, but so they can help them with the
studios
and how to make money on those type services, stuff like that, right? So that shows you they're setting key pieces. Now, granted, if this all works, right? If it works, that multiplayer side is going to equate to their first party side, the single player game that they have now. They're going to be unstoppable. So Microsoft was known for
in their focus, though. They'll have to deliver these third-party, third-person games that everyone knows for. They have to deliver VR games.
But you got to be able to listen. I don't take this notion that you can only do one thing. You got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You are in gaming. Sony's been in gaming for 30 years. Microsoft has been in gaming for 20, 25 years.
Jack of all trades and master of none. I mean, Sony has been a master of few, and they honed in on the talent.
But I think it's fair to say that on the multiplayer side, that has been Sony. That's always been Sony's weakest point. Like
weak point,
significantly. Now, not by a little, like by a lot. Like their multiplayer, like even Nintendo, I think is doing a better job of multiplayer content.
The PS3 era, the PS3 era scarred them. That hack that happened. They lost all the money with SOCOM, right? Because that game launched, and then before you know it, the hack happened. The online went down, so they lost all the money off of that. The PlayStation All Stars, remember they started with that. It's the PS3 era is with Jim Ryan. It didn't have to be, but they didn't. They couldn't think of what part 2 could have been, right? The first Uncharted wasn't really that good. It was only until they came out with that sequel that it really picked up steam and people got to notice. So. It's some of those things that I think Sony was scarred from the PS3 era, and Jim Ryan even said that what keeps us up at night is thinking about the PS3 era and some of the failures that they have there.
But if you notice, on the PS4, they didn't try to remedy the because BG made a good point. He's like, despite how we viewed the multiplayer games on PS3, they still had a lot, and the funny part is the network was free. He says now PlayStation comes back, sure, PS4 is doing great, got great whatever, but they're charging us to play online, and they barely release anything. He says, so he did have a good point. How is Sony charging us and coming out with less multiplayer games, but when the network was free, they had a shit ton of multiplayer options. Warhawk, MAG, SOCOM, PlayStation All-Stars,
First party.
The Little Big Planet cart. He's like, it was like ridiculous when it came to multiplayer and what Sony was doing. So the BG was right. Now, of course, a lot of PlayStation fans, we a little angsty because we're very first player centric. But you can still objectively have the conversation and be like, sure, even if you're not into multiplayer, you can still say this side of the house, they have not been doing good, even though it doesn't impact me. But you can still admit it, like, you know.
Yeah,
it's like Forza. I don't like racing games at all, but I still recognize Forza as a well-made franchise, even though I won't play the damn thing. But I can objectively look at the game and be like, a lot of people like that game. They're having fun. It is, and that's one of, you know, so Microsoft's good studios that constantly deliver quality game, even if I don't play it and like it. But objectively, I can look at something and be honest about it, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft has, Sony has an uphill battle. Hopefully, this Bungie deal pans out and delivers what they expect. But the way I see it, Sony and multiplayer is kind of like Microsoft and trying to get their studios up. They're both in the same world. Yeah. You know, they're in that same dynamic. They haven't done well, and they're trying to get well in this area. And now we have to see if they actually succeed on that venture.
I think you'll see successes on both fronts from both companies, uncharacteristic to their legacy. You will see that change.
I hope so, but I'll tell you this, right? If Sony sticks with their tried and true, which they probably will, right? They'll be fine. They'll be okay. But Xbox, on the other hand, well, I mean, for the most part, right?
They're going to change tact. They're going to change tact. They're changing tact quite considerably.
And they could, but what I mean as far as the high quality output of first party IP, right? They still invest in that. But so Sony will be okay from that standpoint, right? They're not going to all of a sudden stop putting out their first party high quality games, right? They're going to continue that. But on the other hand, Microsoft is going, that's their number one focus is their first party high quality output. That's something that they've been failing in the last 2 generations. So this is a make or break for them, dude. Either you got some good quality games or you don't. We can't keep going with, like, right now there's guys on Twitter right now with this high life or whatever, high for life, whatever this game. Yeah. These guys are out here, oh, this game is fun, I'm having a blast. And it's like, okay, listen, I get it.
I mean, the gun talks a lot of shit. It's pretty funny.
No. If you like Rick and Morty, it's
like Rick and yes, exactly.
But listen, here's the
hypocrisy. Hilarious. That's all right. The kid's dead. You shot a kid. Is that what you want?
Here's the hypocrisy. When Calypso Protocol came out and it was like a 74, 76 Metacritic or something, when they found out that Sony kind of helped with some of this stuff, oh, this game is trash. That's why it's doing this, right? But this game, this high for life, whatever the name of the game, got a 54 Metacritic, and these guys, oh, just try it. It's fun. It's like, it's that hypocrisy, right?
I mean, a couple of things on the higher life. It's only had like 5 reviews. So,
but those are from Xbox sites. It's not going to get better once you put the PlayStation.
But I'm gonna be honest though. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think a lot of people even hyped the game in the first place. I'll be honest. If it wasn't,
they were hyping it up.
I'm gonna be honest. If it wasn't for that, and of course you know me with the fuckery. If it wasn't for that Colt tweet and Jez, and Colt be like, "Oh, I could advertise this game for free," I would have not even known about this High Life game. It was only because of that.
I was hyping it when I first saw it.
I don't think a lot of people. I didn't see it on my timeline. It was only because of that snapshot. Somebody, of course, the Glimmer man. Hey, Porter, look at this, and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have fun with this." Well, other than that, I'd never really seen a lot of people talk about High in Life. I just didn't see it.
No, it was quite hyped. I mean,
were you really?
Yeah, it was.
So on your side, really?
Yeah.
I honestly didn't see it. You know.
No. We were like, as soon as we knew it was from Squanch Games and it was first revealed, we were like, what the flip is this? How did this come out of nowhere? I remember the reveal of it where you had knifey poking the eyes out. It was a big thing for, and if you've played Squanch Games and played Trover Save the Universe in VR, you know what you're getting with this. So it's trust me, even Sumo, man, he bleeds blue as well, and he is like repping the game because it is actually fun. I do think when the reviews do come out, I don't know why they haven't come out that much, but I think it will creep up quite considerably beyond its Metacritic score. But it's still Game Pass fodder, like that terminology. It's not. It's just Scorn is like another example of that. You want to smoke some weed, then play a game that's going to be fun. Fine, I'll play that. But it's not a game that you shout out about.
Let me find out, guys out there. He's like, yeah, let me light a spliff because this shit is hurting right now.
These are not notable games. But it's good to
My
get
man's like a spliff while playing Xbox. He's like, yep. He's gonna let the pain drain out the medicate the pain.
Enjoy these games.
Medicate the pain. Let me do the super chats and then we'll do our outros because it's very late for these gentlemen. Glenn Zuri says money got MS to the poker table, but they can't play. That's a good analogy. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Harrison, big shout out to this panel and my brother J-Dub. I have never leaned this much towards my PlayStation this gen ever. Okay. Downward incline. I agree with you, Rock. Once you experience having an option for performance mode, there's no going back to lock 30 only trash. That's right, brother. We're not paying out $70 for lock 30 only. And P-Rock the False Prophet. What the hell is SOCOM, Kratos?
Oh,
don't even answer that. No,
man.
All right. So, gentlemen, if you would do your outro so that way you could get at least 2 hours of rest. We'll start with Gaz. I know you're both the dynamic duo, but please let the panel know where they could continue to find your great insight and entertainment.
Thank you, all of you. Massive shout out to you, Potrock, for letting us on. It's been great fun. J-Dubs, finally get to chat to you. It's been
definitely, brother.
Fun. Can't wait to have you guys on Go Live. And the Messiah, thank you again, man. I think you were on BG's show with us. I'm not sure. I was on the same time as you, but shout out to you. Thank you. And yeah, everyone in chat, I hear you loud and clear. Xbox is going to be the winner this gen, so thank you for sharing your views. And yeah, thank you again. Check out Game On Daily. One word is the YouTube channel. But yeah, it's
when you said that, I pictured the chat in the Metal Gear. Huh? Everybody's all confused. All you see is the exclamation point. Like what? Who said that? Asa, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You have any parting words?
No, I've been quiet for the last hour or three because it's nearly 4:30 now. But it was good. It was good. So thanks for having us on. Thanks for chatting to us. Do check us out at Game On Daily. I've also got I like VR a lot, and I'm not allowed to talk about it on Game On Daily main channel. So with my own channel, Asa_Game On Daily, where I talk a bit more about that stuff and play a lot in my headsets. But yeah, nice. Well, good. Cheers, everyone.
Hey, when PSVR 2 come, I will invite you. We can talk VR all day. And if people don't like it, oh well. We can talk about it, I can't wait. I'm excited for the future of VR. I'm really excited. But J-Dub, outro, you're back. Elon Musk got you out of jail.
Absolutely, man.
Like literally. That's not even a joke. He literally unlocked his original account.
Exactly. I'm back, y'all. Y'all know where to find me. Just follow the bot tears.
All right. And then, of course, Craig Harris. I'm sorry. I tried to get guests, but it looks like you're going to have to go another day not knowing what a CU is.
Yeah, I know. And we asked people who know coat and dealers. I'm disappointed. That's all they were talking about. But yeah, shout out to everybody here. I hit 1,800 subs.
Did you?
We're doing a celebration.
Shout out to you.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
Appreciate everybody. And doing a drunk podcast tomorrow morning at 9:00. So be there with a pint and of your favorite beverage.
All right. Awesome. Hey, again, special shout out. Very much thank you. And again, these two guests are out in Europe, so it's like 3-4 in the morning over there. But they're out here.
7 a.m. But it's about 7 a.m. over there.
But it's absolutely a pleasure for you guys to show up. Thank you so much for the insight. Yes. You made this very entertaining. And I told you it was just 2 topics, and you saw the quality of the topic stretch this show out to 3 hours, and it didn't even feel like it. Or at least not for me, because I'm in California, so it's only 8:30 here. So I can, But anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys. Oh, I have to do it for Asa. But I gave you guys what I call podcast guest rights, which means, so the way we do it in this household is your first visit, you're a guest. So we're going to serve you, we'll pull the food out the fridge, cook you some dinner. Hey, you get the full treatment. But after today, you guys are now family. That means I'm not, if you want something, go get it yourself in the fridge, which means you guys are more than welcome anytime on this podcast. No invite needed. If you're around listening and you just hear some nonsense and you just want to be like, Puerto Rock, you can just jump in, talk. You are now family to the podcast. You have absolute rights to live on air, and I think you guys are more than welcome to that. And I would love, future interaction with you guys. You guys have been outstanding. Thank you. This. And I hope the chat. Hey, chat. I hope you enjoyed it. I think the chat definitely enjoyed it. Actually, the chat was kind of calm. So I think you guys did a phenomenal. Because normally they're rude as fuck. I'll be honest, but I'm not gonna lie. I was actually surprised, But I think it just comes down to the quality of the conversation. You guys did phenomenal. Thank you so much. Right?
Thank you.
With that, hey, chat. This is your only friend in these YouTube streets, Porter77. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, hit subscribe, check out the content from the guests and the panel members, and we are out of here. You guys have a good night. See you again next week on Tuesday. Same time, same bat, please. You guys take care. Peace.